Jeff, how's those vitamins?
I took my vitamins
Like seconds ago.
That's my policy of if I think, oh shit, I should take my vitamins, I got to take them right now or I won't.
Were they chewable?
Check of the week.
Are they gummies?
What you munching on, Jeff?
These are not chewables.
Oh, but chew them up. They get in you faster.
Swallowables.
That's true.
They begin to circulate within seconds.
I used to do the gummies, which is, like genius, but I ate them too much.
You gotta
and I'd run out of vitamins.
They're also faster acting if you take them rectally.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, that probably won't taste as good, though.
Hey, it's Tuesday, December. It's December the 1st. Welcome to the Giant Vitacast.
Aqua covered.
The VitaCast?
That's right.
Excuse me.
Or if you're in the UK, the VitaCast.
Yes, the Vitamins Life.
Vita means life. Yes. There you go. Got it. You beat me to it. Yes.
Happy post-Thanksgiving, y'all.
Your only source for discontinued Sony handhelds on the internet. What's everybody?
Which is all of them.
Playing on your PSP this week?
Ridge Racers. Not Ridge Racer, Ridge Racers.
Okay.
Gamefly is starting to offer used UMDs to rent. So
wait, to rent?
There's never been or buy. But there's never been a better time to break out that PSP.
I don't think my Vita can play a UMD.
We're talking PSP, dog.
This is
PSP Dog, which is like PSP Go, but
sorry, I've got a PSP Go, so I can't really participate.
This is maybe a little bit of a dodgy question, but is there any way to access UMDs on a PC, perhaps over a USB cable or something?
So no, what you do is you do things to your PSP to make it bad.
Yes,
and then once you've done that, you can
in fact
dump them to you can dump them through the magic gate.
Okay.
And get them onto your memory stick, and then you can USB access the memory stick.
So you're saying I can back up that that UMD copy of Tron that I have?
You could back it up.
Video is it the game or is it a UMD movie?
It's Tron, the major motion picture
Tron,
on UMD.
Major motion picture.
On UMD.
I believe so. The other thing I'll say is that I think movies dump differently.
Yeah, they do.
So they do.
Yeah,
especially in Germany.
Tron hit different. So there's something. Yeah, I don't know. There might be a different process I'm not familiar with, but I know people are doing it. So there's something.
I've got some documentary on UMD that should not belong on UMD, and I can't remember what it was. But man, UMD movies.
Yeah, you got that Puddle of Mud concert
something like that.
All the good shit.
That's right.
Switch.
Mm-hmm.
The movie.
Yes.
Not the.
That's the one.
Yeah.
December is here.
Yeah.
Oh.
What do you think of that?
Happy December.
Did you guys have a good Thanksgiving? Who had the best food?
I did, because it was just a big old turkey bowl.
Wait,
I like a KFC famous bowl?
Yeah, exactly like a KFC famous
Jason
bowl.
has the best approach to Thanksgiving.
I love it. It's a layer of potatoes. I got some corn in there. I've got turkey. I've got gravy and stuffing, all in layers. And you just dig in. Just like one big bowl.
Thoroughly mix everything together.
No. Keep it
layered.
Okay.
Keep it layered.
Gotta keep it separated.
Yeah,
like a nice trifle.
Right. So all my food's touching all the time, and it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
We have go ahead, Jan.
Oh, and Uncle just dropped off steak. Raw steak, and he was like, "Hey, Jerome, can you cook like 3 of these for me, and then you could keep one?" Like, what the fuck?
I don't know if that's a fair trade or not.
Wow.
Yeah, because he was convinced he didn't know how to cook it properly. He was like, "Oh, you know how to cook.
I feel like
here you go."
I feel like you're looking for a 1-to-1 Cooksies to Keepsies on that one, right?
Cooksies to Keepsies.
Did he let you know of this ahead of time, or was it literally just a knock at the door, or like a kick at the door? Yo, I got this meat.
Dripping blood off the steak.
Don't ask where it came from. I just gotta get this cooked.
Take this.
Because like the family group chat's going like, all right, we're not seeing each other this year. We'll wait till next year. Everyone calm down. The next thing I fucking know, my uncle's at the door saying, "Hey, I got steak. Jerome is hot. You gotta get this off me."
Whenever your uncle shows up going, "We gotta cook," there's something bad about to happen for sure.
I was bummed I could only keep one.
We got a 5-spice duck rather than a turkey, which was
that looked good.
Pretty good.
What spices?
I don't know.
Yeah,
did
you consider a 6th spice?
What are the 5 spices? I don't know. You tell me.
Star and
Scary.
I think
cinnamon.
I'm not sure.
Baby.
Heart.
This is
Wind,
bugging me now.
water.
Yep. Yes, heart. That's right. Duck is a fatty
Star
ass
needs
bird.
cloves,
I have-
Yeah, it
cinnamon,
is.
Szechuan pepper, and fennel.
I haven't had duck in a long time, and I forgot how fatty that bird is, man.
Oh,
It
yeah.
is. Yeah, they're
Just-
greasy.
Ooh. You got to render that stuff.
Oh yeah, do a big old render dance.
That's right. The internal renderer for the duck.
I heard the new 3080s are going to be really good for that.
Yeah, Vulkan really improved
resolution.
the.
That's right. Yes, this vapor chamber really just takes that
Locks the flavor in.
fat right off.
Yeah, did you see the video of someone cooking a duck underneath an Xbox Series X, and you just see the duck fat just render down?
Xbox had to tweet, please do not cook a turkey under an
Please
Xbox
stop
Series."
cooking ducks under your Xbox.
That's right. Power your memes. Yeah, hello, hi. It's past Thanksgiving. Most of the video games are out now. I guess we're just playing stuff. What's going on in that realm, Jeff?
Hey, what's
I
up?
heard that you played some Gods and Monsters.
Yes, I played Gods
Wait.
and Monsters, the hit
No,
film.
you didn't.
That's the one with Sam Worthington.
That's the Halle Berry.
What happened to Sam Worthington? He was in like everything for like 40 years.
He's waiting for Avatar, right?
And then
That's
he
his
was
deal?
in nothing that I remember.
Sure, yeah, he's been probably locked in Avatar hell.
Right, I guess they are. I guess they are filming like 4 of those at the same time, right?
Yeah.
Do you film an Avatar, or do you just record the part where you say like,
You motion
"I'm
capture.
a blue guy with a crazy knife," and then they just they just do the rest themselves, or
No, please, Jeff, do not mix this up. The blue people do not have the crazy knives. The evil general with the mech suit has
Wait,
the
did
crazy
he
no,
knives.
dude, these sequels are gonna blow you away. Then spoilers.
Did he lift the knife off of the robot after he killed the robot?
No, because there's a big robot knife. And it's way too big for a Na'vi. Come on, guys. It's like you haven't even seen Avatar.
No, the Na'vi are bigger now. They bred bigger Na'vi to fight better.
Okay, I'm looking at his IMDb right now, and it lists Avatar 2 and Avatar 3 as in post-production, and it lists Avatar 4 and Avatar 5 as filming.
God, 2028 for a projected release date.
Yes.
When should I watch Avatar 1? About 2027?
Never.
Okay.
Once they
Sounds
take
good.
out the papyrus font.
I'll stick up for Avatar being a very okay movie.
It's not
It's
terrible.
fine.
It's not
You put it
terrible.
on, you watch it, you're like, huh, okay.
fine.
Were you
Like
okay? Let me
Pocahontas
ask you
thing.
this: were you like 9 when it came out?
No, I was like, I was in high school.
I was 9 when it came out.
Okay.
No.
Damn it.
You know,
That same uncle that dropped off the steaks dropped off a Blu-ray of Avatar one year. It's all related.
Yeah. This is next year. You're in for it.
Jerome, you got a TV?
Record this for me.
Hey, you got Make MKV installed?
Give me 4 recordings, you can keep one.
Bird 3, you keep 1.
You know, in the James Cameron body of work, I would not say it ranks especially highly, but overall,
Sure.
it's not.
It's no Piranha 3D.
It's not offensively bad. It's just kind of there.
I just never I just never saw it. I don't know. Just looked dumb.
Oh, you're fine. You're
I
probably
mean, it's
fine.
definitely dumb, and the sequels are going to be even dumber. But
Yeah. I mean, it was a fun effects and 3D showpiece when it came out, but
sure.
Yeah,
a
sure.
lot has changed since then.
it's
so
one of the only movies I ever saw 3D and was like, okay, yeah, that was like a 3D movie, not just some upsell gimmick to try and get me to spend a little more.
Speaking of 3D movies, Immortals Fenyx Rising.
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
That, I had to write down the name.
another Sam
got
Worthington
it right.
picture.
Yes. I played some of that. That's out this week. So I just started playing last night. There are neat things about.
This is the Ubisoft Ancient Greek.
Yeah.
Should I say Breath of the Wild inspired?
It is
Assassins.
definitely Breath of the Wild. Like it is Breath of the Wild inspired in its like look and some parts of its structure. But I think, like Genshin Impact, I think you're not getting the full picture if you just say like, it's one of those, because it's super not that. Like you can climb and it has a stamina bar and all that other stuff. Like they definitely
Is the stamina bar
like,
still radial?
Yes.
Circular. Does it still
I'm
look
sorry,
like
is what radial?
The stamina bar, is it still a circle that?
No.
Oh, I don't know.
Oh, they
No,
changed it.
It is not. It is a bar of 4 pips, and then if you equip something that gives you a 5th pip, it goes over to the side. It's not a circle at all.
Totally
This is
different.
a whole
Completely
different thing, different brand, different quality of product. It's it's a big open world quest game, and there are definitely parts in that game like the first thing I wondered, or one of the first things I wondered once I started playing the game was like, is there some brand book at Ubisoft somewhere where it says like, you got to make them climb something if you want to reveal the map.
I mean, how are you going to see?
You just have to. How are you going to see
all that stuff if you don't get up there?
It's at a point where it's like it's beyond a parody of itself, even with that company and those games. That just like, I don't understand why they keep going back to.
Because they just released Watch Dogs and Assassins,
which Watch Dogs does not have a tower equivalent. Not the tower exactly, but the kind of sprawling open world. Yes. Yeah. So this is not, this isn't a city like Watch Dogs. It is not a huge world quite the size of like some of those Assassins games either. It's somewhere in between. But so they go for humor in this. The writing, the tone of it, the story, all that stuff. Like, it reminded me of a really I don't want to sell it short here because I do think. Okay, so the framing of the story is you are playing as a human. All the other humans have been turned to stone. Typhon is out, and you got to stop him by getting some gods to rejoin with their human forms. And that story is told as Prometheus telling the story to Zeus. As a part of like, oh, we have to save the world from Typhon, but all of the gods
they're kind of narrators.
Yes, right? Exactly. They're narrators in that way that like Prometheus is telling the story, and then Zeus is the very flip, like comic relief. Like, this sounds boring, and then there was a big monster, and then suddenly a big monster appears in front of your character in a way that's just like, this has super been done. This sucks. It just the way it is presented. I think that aspect of the writing, the framing of the narrator telling you the story, and that specific like method of having the other character interject when he is bored, or just like, oh, and then I was drunk. It's like they're trying to like add this fun spin on all these Greek tales, and I think that stuff really sucks. But the character, the character you play as Phoenix, and I use a created character. It defaulted to a lady, so I stuck with that. And you meet Hermes pretty early on and stuff. And I think there are like the animation is really good and cartoony. And I think the facials work really well. And it's a nice looking game with a potentially nice story. But like that aspect of it really just drags it down. Okay, all right. It's a big open world in a way that you could not have done then. Mm-hmm. But if this is like some long lost alternate universe sequel or remake of some game that LucasArts put out on the PS2 or something, it's like, this is
some examples.
Okay, if there were B games, if B games still existed today, this is it, baby.
Okay.
This is it. Like it is very much like this also ran kind of like, oh, we made one of those too, except it's weird because it's also coming from Ubisoft, who makes like 9 other open world games. But like, this was like, hey, Conspiracy Entertainment decided to drop a weird funny take on Greek mythology, and you fight the gods or whatever. It's that.
Throw out some names here.
Yeah.
RTX Red Rock.
Yeah. Like a fracture.
Like
that.
A Gladius.
Yeah, Gladius, I think, is actually the game I'm specifically kind of.
How about Wrath Unleashed by the Collective on the PlayStation 2?
Oh, these are all my favorite games.
I think Wrath Unleashed is more of like an Archon spiritual successor, so that's not really a good fit. But like, it feels like the type of just like character driven, like behind the back third person action game, like that came out in that era. Of just like, here's like, yeah, someone in chat said like, oh, Rygar. Like, yeah, like all these, like when everyone was just putting out 9,000 third person action adventure games every week, this feels like another one of those. But it is a bigger open world and all this stuff. Like, I'm not saying technologically speaking, but like the vibe of it is very much in that like, hey, this came out too sort of thing.
A lot of that square triangle.
Yeah, no, it's R1, R1, R2.
Oh, okay, very different.
Yeah, they went for the kind of Souls triggers for their melee combat. And you quickly get powers that very much kind of fall in line to like things a Zelda game might do. Where like, one of the first things you get is a set of bracers that let you levitate big blocks and rocks, and you can set them on pressure plates to open doors and solve puzzles, or fling them at enemies and that sort of stuff. You get a bow that you can then guide the arrows, which there's some puzzle solving around, like, make the arrow go under this and then go through the fire and then shoot through the fire and then hit the torch and then make it light. And then the door opened. Like, they're definitely pulling from that aspect of some Zelda stuff as well. The combat's very flat, I would say. You've got a parry, you've got a dash to kind of get out of the way of stuff. It's not like for as much as it is using the triggers for combat, it is not like a stamina driven combat system. You can just wail away. And that stuff feels very basic. Like, I think as complicated as it's gotten so far is like, if your heavy attack builds up a stun meter, and your light attack does just regular damage. And so you can stun them with the heavy, and then they will take more damage from the light when they're stunned. And so that's kind of
useful against shielded enemies as well.
Yes, shielded enemies. And also it's good. The axe is good for crowd control because it'll, like, the third hit on it swings around, and so you'll kind of clear a path for yourself.
How loot heavy is it? I know I've seen shots of colored, straight up color coded loot, but
it seems like it has like a set number of, like, you've got the second axe now. But also a lot of that stuff is, so the items have perks on them basically, and you upgrade the damage that those items do separately with an upgrade currency. So the axes aren't necessarily like more powerful than one another. It's more like, if you have this axe equipped, it'll do 30% more stun damage. Or if you have upgraded to level 4 on axes, you have a choice of 2 perks per weapon, and stuff like that. So it is very much like, go loot the world for upgrade currencies and then go back to the Hall of the Gods and then spend it all on, like, now I can hold more potions, and now I can now this sword does slightly more damage, and
very familiar.
Yeah, but it's basically, when you upgrade sword, you are upgrading all swords. So you're just like, I'm level 3 in swords, and so whatever I equip, it's going to do that level of damage. But that, those unlocks will kind of also give me more perks, and that's what differentiates the items from one another. So it's not like, hey, this sword fell out of this dude. It seems very much like either story driven or some hidden items. Like I found a helmet that was definitely like in an optional chest that I didn't necessarily have to get, and so it doesn't really seem like a color coded loot driven game from what I've played so far. Like, I played through the prologue, got the late title card, and then you get out into the world, and it's like, okay, there are 4 gods and there are 4 statues that you should climb to get a sense of their area, and just go there and do it in whatever order you like. And so
okay.
They've got that sort of stuff, and they try to do a Zelda type thing with the map, but like, it's
so
weird,
you're marking
man.
it up on your own and stuff.
You have the ability to mark it up on your own, and a lot of custom tags you can select and that sort of stuff. But you can hold in the right stick at any point to go into a first-person mode, and it will basically, as you look around, your controller will vibrate and say, like, you can reveal what item is here on the map. And so you just go into there anywhere, and you're looking into the ground because you're up high, and you're, but like, it's saying like, hey, 2,000 meters from here, there's a chest. And so it's this weird thing of just like, you're not looking at the chest. You're just like looking around, like moving around willy nilly, looking for controller vibrations, and then marking up the map full of stuff, which they want you to do it on the top of the towers, because then theoretically you're looking down on everything, but you can do it anywhere. So it's just like, and then anytime you click back into that view, it just shows like all the icons you've revealed all around you. And it's just a mess. It's a mess.
That sounds like in concept, they're trying to do the thing that Zelda did with discoverability, except they're not making you actually think about it. Like,
exactly,
it's just completely mechanical and like losing sight of why it's fun to actually discover stuff.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely, like, I've seen more than one person say that, like, oh, hey, they really don't seem to understand why Breath of the Wild was as revered as it was with some of the choices they've made, and I think that rings true. But also, like, it's only superficially that game. Like, I look at it as it's kind of its own thing, except for the parts where it is very much trying. It wants you to think it is a Zelda-like game, but boy, it's not. But you climb on stuff, and stamina burns when you climb. You can climb on almost anything. It's got puzzles and stuff like that are not quite shrines, but are kind of shrines.
I mean, is it just populating the map with icons when you climb those statues? Like, that's kind of the key.
No, you have to get up there and populate it yourself.
You have to find stuff. Okay.
Yeah. I think when you get up to the tower, it will clear the fog on your main map, but it won't fill in the icons. So you're still left to do that yourself.
Right. Like, that's the thing with Zelda is like you have to climb towers to like fill out map area.
Yeah.
Right? But they don't lead you to anything. And like, there are GDC talks they gave about this stuff, like where they're like fine-tuning sight lines and like use of color at long distances and stuff like that to draw your attention to things without just like slapping a fat icon on it. Like, it makes you feel like you're finding things.
Exactly. And so that's something that like, so the tutorial area in the game is actually really bad about that because it is fogged in. So you're on kind of a separate island that is fogged in, and it's like there was a moment there where I was like, this can't be like a draw distance issue, right? I'm not playing. This is not like the modern Superman 64, is it? But so you're like in that zone, you are extra just like it's vibrating. It says reveal. I'm pulling the trigger, and it says there's a chest 2,000 meters away, and I'm like, great, fucking great, whatever. But when you get off of that into the main world, that fog is lifted. And then you can see like, okay, that's a big ass statue off in the distance. And sure enough, you can go there and climb it to do stuff. And it's, I don't know, man. I don't dislike it. Like I really was put off in the first hour or so because of the writing in the way they present the story. Their attempts at humor, I think, are really rotten. With the Prometheus and Zeus. And when you played it pre-release, did they just kind of dump you in the early part of the game, or
the very beginning of the game?
Okay.
So it's probably the same stuff. Yeah. And that was my big obstacle as well, was the humor that definitely kept me out of it. And I've heard people talking about some of the jokes and like, of course there's an Isle of Lesbos, wink and nod.
Oh, great.
I can't wait for that.
Yeah. There's but it's such a weird tone.
Yeah,
where like you
to the beginning of a Borderlands game. Marcus is like doing the narration in the beginning.
Yes, yes, it is that style of that style of storytelling for sure. But I don't think it's as bad as Borderlands is.
Yeah,
but yeah, it's not entirely. They want it to be irreverent, right? Like in the early part of the game, you eventually have to go meet an oracle. And you end up walking in and talking to this guy who is very dodgy and does not seem to think he's the Oracle. Mm-hmm. And like the room is very smoky, and your character remarks that, and then you realize like this dude is stoned. What? But it's like the most like generic like. What if like what does he say? It's like, did you ever notice that like in prophecy the last bits of it are I see, which is weird because I don't. And it's just like they're trying to write that stoner character.
It's somebody who's never even seen what marijuana looks like writing.
Yes. It definitely has that sense of just like, well, I listened to a Cheech and Chong record a very long time ago, so I think I know a thing or two about weed jokes
in college.
Yeah, so it like that stuff's just kind of shitty, but like when you meet Hermes and Hermes is kind of walking through like I don't know, so it's hit and miss. Like there's definitely been some aspects of it where I'm like, there could be a story here that could be all right, but the Prometheus and Zeus narration keeps getting in the way of that. Because it's very much like a the gods joking about things that are very small potatoes to them, like, oh yeah, he got drunk and sunk the whole Greek fleet, and then your player character will like, yeah, a lot of my family died in that, and you're like, oh well, and then like very like ducking out of shot, like, oh yikes, like they just they try to play it so broad and in that way that like it kind of sucks, but it's different. And there are little bits and pieces of the main character here that I went like, you know what, this isn't terrible. Like this is all right. Like there are parts of the writing and the overall story that I think like could cash in later in a way.
And there are like some of the animations that, like back at the hub world that I thought, okay, all right, that's charming.
It's not without its charm for sure.
Yeah. Are you on a new console with this?
I'm playing the Xbox Series X version.
How does it look?
It tears. Other than that, it's fine. It defaulted to performance mode for me. I've not tried the image quality mode to see.
Yeah, you got that VRR on that TV?
Hell no.
Okay.
This TV too old for that.
Okay. Supposedly that helps with the tearing.
Yeah, I mean, yes.
Or like Assassins, they'll just patch it in a couple weeks and fix it.
Yeah, right. We'll see. Yeah, so it does tear a little bit here and there. That was noticeable, but it's a nice looking game. Like, you know, and like the world kind of bangs up real nice. You know, like in Zelda, you want to be able to cut down trees and bushes and all that stuff. If you pull out that axe, you're cutting down columns and all. Like, you know, in the middle of combat, you'll be knocking shit around in a way that felt like, okay, like I'm doing damage to the world. That's kind of fun. But like also it is the most like, because, you know, you are looking around and filling in all those things, and it's chests and challenges, and like there's a loot here, and if you go find the 3 little songs and go play them on this big loot, you'll get an item. And it's just, there's so much fucking side stuff. And when you finally get to that hub, it is like where you do all your upgrades, and you walk around in a circle, and Hermes tells you about all of the different upgrade stations and what they do, and you just realize how many different upgrade currents. Well, you have Zeus's lightning. If you get 6 of them and walk up to this station, you can upgrade your stamina. And if you get 6 Ambrosias and go to this other station that's right next to this one, you can cash that in to upgrade your maximum health. And then over here, you can upgrade your potions, and here's where you can upgrade your weapons. And like every single one pops like 1 to 5 different upgrade currencies that you might be spending here. Actually, you know, maybe those aren't upgrades. Some of them are just like potion components and stuff like that. But like, it seems like something that should have been streamlined, and it definitely got a feeling of just like, man, they just really filled this world full of shit, like busy work.
It really sounds like a B game.
Somebody
like
at the top,
the more you talk about
somebody at the top of this discussion in chat described this as $60 Genshin Impact without microtransactions.
No, I would rather. I think like
I think there are microtransactions, aren't there?
Yeah, there are. It's a Ubisoft game. Oh, yeah, okay. You can buy cosmetics, and I believe it has different horses and all. You know, yes, there's a lot of options of like, hey, I'm going to buy better swords or different looking swords or whatever that you could get right now. Is it better than Genshin Impact? I don't know. I
like the combat better, but
Hermes or Paimon?
Yeah.
Paimon. Always Paimon.
Always Paimon.
Okay. Just making sure.
Never Paimon.
Yeah. But like I say that, but also like I've fallen off Genshin Impact pretty hard. Like when new consoles came in and stuff, I just got busy with other stuff and have not gone back to it.
I keep hoping they'll do a PS5 patch for that thing, but nothing yet.
You don't want to play. Well,
I know.
Unless they do the thing where they link all the versions together, you probably don't want to like.
Yeah,
it's not yourself to.
My understanding is that was a business thing, so that's probably not going to change. But
you could get exclusive wings if you play on Sony platforms, Brad.
Yeah, you see.
Like I know.
Speaking of wings, actually, no, and there was some sense of discovery that I found in Immortals, like something that I didn't find on, you know, when you're up on the tower or whatever. But it was like a named enemy that I came across, and I got some really cool wings off of that. So there was, you know, as I was going from like, you know, point A to point B, some stuff that I did kind of see off in the distance that caught my eye. That was a little more like Breath of the Wild as opposed to everything spelled out for you.
Yeah, and I guess like combat, you do get a currency off of combat, and so. Some of the enemies seemed interesting until you see them kind of stamped around the world a lot more. Like when you get out of that first area, the first zone I think is pretty weak overall. But like some of the first enemies you see when you get to the mainland is like there's just a giant fucking bull man and like big old bears, and they look great. Like I think the art style really shines on some of that stuff. It's like a nice look. But like, you know, the fight took forever, and the what you get out of it was not necessarily worth it, and it was just that feeling of just like, oh, and the combat is so few and far between in a lot of areas because it is meant to be this exploration-y kind of thing that is just, yeah, I don't know. It's very hit and miss, but I will say it is hitting more than I thought it would, especially based on playing the first hour or so of it and coming out the other end of that being like, man, this seems fucking grim. I don't want to touch it, but like I stuck with it a little longer. I was like, you know what? There's potentially something to this. But also like when you see the world and when you see that map fill up with busy work, like I definitely had that feeling of like, I'm never gonna, I don't want to do any of that stuff. So I might just mainline it.
That sort of stuff. Yeah. Some people are like, yeah, give me all that stuff to do.
I think in a better game, I would do that stuff. Like that's kind of the thing is, you know, like I'm not opposed to side stuff in general, but I want it to feel reined in and meaningful. And I think here, it already doesn't feel like that stuff is necessarily worth it. I mean, if you get late game and suddenly, and that would even almost be worse, because if you get late game and you're like, shit, because I haven't been going around collecting all this ambrosia, my maximum health is lower than it needs to be. And boy, that really sucks now that I'm here at the hard part. The last thing I would want to do is be like, oh, now I got to go backtrack through the entire world and collect all this ambrosia to solve this problem like that. Yep. That doesn't sound fun either.
I would like to check this game out on PS5 just to see how they handle the activities with that stuff. Like see how a third-party publisher early on is handling that stuff, because that seems like the ideal use case for that stuff.
You know, I would not have expected to feel this way, but playing it on Xbox, controller doesn't rumble very well. Feels kind of cheap by comparison. Like it was definitely a feeling of just like I found myself wondering like, oh, I wonder if they would do this on PS5 with this part of the game, or I wonder if they would do this with the triggers or whatever. I don't know if they're doing anything with the PS5, but I would not have expected that to be. And we talked about it a bit in the last couple of weeks, but like the idea that is a differentiator that like is in my mind as I'm playing this stuff is weird.
I was with you early on that stuff, and I still am in theory until I realized that Astro and Miles Morales are kind of the only games that actually use that stuff so far.
Yeah. Well, the rumble, I think even generic, just standard rumble still feels a little bit better on that controller.
Yes, you're right. Yes, the haptic stuff is good. Like the haptic stuff in Demon Souls is actually pretpretty good. But
yeah, you are right though that like there are enough third-party games that are using it poorly, or
not at all.
Or I mean, Call of Duty uses it, and I've ended up leaving it on. I thought that I would have turned it off by now just for like a competitive advantage, but I just haven't. And the trigger pull stuff is fine. It doesn't really feel like a problem. But I wonder if I was esportsing it up, if I would feel the same way about that, or feel like, nope, need faster trigger pulls, need to shoot faster, must shoot faster.
Speaking of 360 no scopes, I understand you started playing Demon Souls.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Just knocking out those headshots.
Yeah, totally.
What's up?
Absolutely.
What's up with Demon Souls?
What's up with Demon Souls? What's up?
Souls?
Okay.
Talk about it.
Okay. So back when this game was new, how the fuck did anyone ever do the thing where after they beat the first boss and then it shows you this cutscene of just like the monumental awaits the above, motherfucker, and then you climb up the fucking tower and you're like, what is all this bullshit? There's all this fucking trash up here. What the fuck is the monumental? Is it the gigantic statue? Because I'm looking at this fucking thing and going like, I don't there's no X button. I don't know what I need to. Like, do I need to walk up to something and hit it? And so I told myself I wasn't going to look shit up for this, but I got to a point where this was like, okay, I got two options here. Stop playing this game forever or figure out what the fuck the monumental situation is. And so I found a fucking FAQ written for the PS3 version. It was like, you need to go up to the third level and then look at the one candle that's a little bit different. It's a guy that's not as burned as the other guy.
It's the one guy who's actually alive, even though it's not.
Fuck you. And then I listened to this dumbass cutscene. I was like, okay, great. Now I can go back into the world and fucking upgrade and do all this shit.
Yeah. I could tell you as someone who has played through the entirety of this game. Yeah, I also spent a few minutes thinking the monumental was the giant statue.
Well, the cutscene doesn't illustrate what you're even.
The cutscene is very misleading because they show you the giant statue as she's talking about the monumental.
Yeah, and
also, I walked up to the statue is monumentally big.
Yes. I walked up to the very top and I was like, oh, there's like leaderboards up here.
Yes.
What the fuck is going on?
Yeah.
Is it just one of the random leaderboards? And I'm just like looking at it, I'm going like, what the 11th fastest fuck this.
It also took me a few minutes to find that kid.
So That's how it's going for me.
Okay.
That game seems fine. I don't think it's as good as Bloodborne, I guess.
Hey,
Sure.
cool.
Yeah.
In terms of the combat and overall feel of it, I think I would probably rather play Bloodborne again.
Like, I'm definitely someone who is my favorite. Playing through that is my favorite experience I've had with a Souls game. But so much of that was because it was my first, and it was so unlike a lot of shit that I'm really interested to see how people's reactions to this come back, because there is a lot of that. Like, all those games are esoteric in some ways, but I feel like Demon's Souls has the most random bullshit that is just like, ooh, we tricked you kind of stuff.
Yeah, well, it feels very much like, because even when you go talk to the kid, like it asks you like, will you accept the mission? And I'm looking at that going like, there's gonna be some dumb shit later on, depending on what I say here. And I said yes, because I was like, yes is probably the one with the most options later on. If I say no, I bet it locks me out of something later, and just kind of went on my way at that point. But yeah, I don't know. I got through the first area, beat that first big goo monster.
The phalanx.
How do you okay? What's the right way to use the fire bombs? Because I've had to pull up my tool belt, move over to them, and hit use every time. I wanted to.
You got a quick use bar that you hit, was it down on the D-pad, I think, to cycle through?
Okay, I've been using my healing items there, so I just need to equip it there like anything else. Okay.
Yes. Okay. And then hit, what is it, square, I think?
Yeah. So I didn't, I was in the middle of that fight when I realized, I need fire for these things, and I need to, and I don't have it equipped there, and the game does not pause, right?
No.
Yeah. No. So yes, it became very much a thing of like, well, now I've got to get through this, and I did. It wasn't a big deal, but like I was like, I now have to get through this fight, like going into my menu, scrolling down, or eventually got it on the toolbar or tool belt rather, and pushed the touchpad and was throwing them that way. But
Chad actually just pointed out that you can cheese the lack of a pause with photo mode, which I had not considered.
Oh, okay.
That's.
Well, I mean, I want to pause, but also go into a menu and make that change. So that probably doesn't actually work the way I need it to. It looks very nice and it loads very fast. Yes. And some dogs ate me, I guess.
I remember that.
And that's where I stopped. I was like, okay, dogs ate me. I'm going to stop playing.
Did you bounce around any other areas, or did you just keep going through kind of 1-1, 1-2?
I just kept going back to the same area.
Okay.
Like, I was so pissed after like all the time I wasted looking for the monumental that I was very much just like, okay, get me back into the fucking spot that I'm where I belong, and I'm gonna fucking go forward. I don't have time to dick around with these other areas. Like, fuck this.
Yeah.
And so I have not bopped around to other areas.
I'd have to go back and look at the stream that I did with Vinny to see what I did the first time, but I think I'm doing the same thing again. I got to the Tower Knight in 1-2, and I can't do shit to him, and so now I'm back in 2-1 again, doing the mines, all the underground dwarfy shit.
Yeah.
Which I can't remember if that's like the actual path they want you to take or not, but that's where I'm at.
Yeah, I don't know. It's funny now because we're on the other side of so many of them, but it's one of those games.
Yeah, it is weird going back to it, feeling like they hadn't quite found it in every respect. Like some parts of it do feel a little bit clumsier in terms of level design and like all the gotcha moments and some of the backtracking is a little bit excessive in some spots.
I think for me, it's they've gotten marginally better at this over the game. Whatever. I haven't played the Dark Souls game, so I'm really only talking about like Sekiro and Bloodborne and maybe like Dark Souls 1 or something. But like going to this game and having like and it just this is a D rank in this and an E rank in this, and you need to have a strength 18 if you want to equip this, and just like the way it presents you the items and the stats on those items really seems like it could be done better. Yeah. You can I think either you feel that way or you feel like, no man, that's part of it. Like either you sweep away every criticism of every part of Demon's Souls as no man, that's part of it, or you're like, they probably could have done some stuff.
I mean, again, the things that they went on to refine in the subsequent games, I feel like are things you can easily argue are not part of it, because it's like even they thought that stuff needed to be cleaned up.
Yeah. So like, how did Dark Souls 3, like by the time they got to Dark Souls 3, how did they handle that sort of stuff? Is it all kind of similar, like just the items and equipment stats? And I'd have to go back and check, but I'm pretty sure all the games after that,
added kind of a tooltip sort of thing where you can like highlight different stats and it'll kind of help you figure out what's what. I might be wrong. Somebody will correct me, but like I think there are like UI hint elements that are in newer games that this does not have.
Yeah, it definitely felt like as I was spending souls for the first time and just kind of willy-nilly going like, I could use some more HP and I could probably use some more. Like it definitely felt like I'm probably making horrible mistakes here.
Don't do that on a stream because everybody will tell you, hey, you don't need more health. You just need to play better.
Yeah,
great.
I don't know. I got the cling ring equipped.
Yes,
so
just equip that cling ring. Cling ring. What are you playing?
I went with Royal. Everyone said that was the right way to play it first.
Royal.
Or the wrong way to play it forever.
See, now I'm on the other side of it. Now I get to go, I'm playing a Royal, huh?
Yeah. And the bad thing about playing Royal, like you realize it pretty early on, is like, I am not getting better at this game by playing it this way.
You're just shooting magic at everything.
Exactly. And it's awesome.
Yep.
And you're like, fuck this. I'm gonna kill all this stuff. But it is that feeling of like, I'm really not getting better at positioning. I'm really not getting better at rolling around enemies. I'm really not getting better at handling 2 enemies at once. I'm just backing up and shooting 3 guys at the same time, and blowing them all up. And it's very easy to see like that. Well, I don't know. Maybe if you keep investing in the magic stats, that gets you where you need to be. Yeah. But like my feeling is like, geez, eventually this thing's going to not work well enough, or I'm not going to have enough mana, or I'm not going to have enough something to play this way. And then I'm fucking fucked because I haven't gotten good at. Not that I got pretty good at the shield stab stuff pretty early on.
I mean, it's all part of the game. Like magic, you can totally do a magic build through that whole game.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, they wouldn't have put it in if they didn't intend for people to use it. So the people that say, hey, it's the wrong way, right way to play, whatever stuff, like they can kind of get fucked. That's a different position that's a similar position to the people that said, man, throwing is cheap. It's like, it's in the game. Fuck you. It's in the fucking game.
Anyone who tries to tell you you're not playing a video game right is wrong. Even if they're right.
Even when they're right, they're wrong.
Just like EA Sports said, it's in the game.
It's in the game.
The MP is another thing that you don't realize until after you play something besides a Royal, because the Royal starts with the MP regen.
Right.
So if you just kind of run around long enough, you have more magic. And like now I'm playing a Temple Knight who has exactly enough MP to heal once. So yeah, that stuff becomes a problem at some point. Let's see here. I am amazed how much the loading times in that game, and it's not just that game, because I loop back around to Miles Morales, just trying to clean up some launch games that I started before I move on to other stuff. And my willingness to just jump into a game for like 20 minutes because the barrier to entry is basically 0 is like so much higher than it used to be. It's crazy.
It makes Astro's Playroom, it makes the idea of like caring about those leaderboards, it makes all the difference in the world.
Yeah.
If I had to load that game up and then load in and then run over to the thing and then load again and then load, and then every time I had to restart, if it had a longer load, like all that other stuff, I wouldn't do it. I would not. Totally. I would not touch those leaderboards at all. I would have gotten the trophies and been out. But now I'm like, it's fucking. I got beat by this and this. I'm not gonna beat all of my friends, but I can beat most of them. And so I have been going back in. Like I'll turn on the PS5 to play something else. Like before I played Demon Souls, I was like, oh, I got a bunch of notifications about my Astro times. I'm just gonna go in there and just knock out a couple of those.
It is still the most next gen thing about either of these machines by far. Like by the same token, like I'll be playing Demon Souls and I get sick of dying to the armor spider, and by the time I rage close Demon Souls, I have cooled down enough to be like, you know what, I'm gonna fire up Spider-Man instead of just turning this console off. And like 15 seconds later, I am running around in Spider-Man. Like it's fucking crazy.
Yeah, it's it matters. Again, I think again, it's one of those things that like similar to the controller, like it's very easy to write off until you're doing it and you're like, oh, this actually is super different and really, really meaningful. And so and that's the thing playing Immortals on the Xbox is I've definitely found myself like counting load times, like or like it's like, okay, that's like 7 seconds, that's all right, and wondering, hey, I wonder if it's faster on PS5. I wonder how much faster it loads over there. and caring about that stuff in a way that I never would have before. But my tolerance for load times is like the knock-on effect of that is like my tolerance for load times has gotten way worse.
Yep.
I reinstalled Windows. My boot drive failed a couple weeks ago, and so I reinstalled Windows last weekend. And I bought like, what is it, a Samsung, like a Evo 970 or whatever. It's a 2 terabyte drive. So I used to have a 1 terabyte on my boot drive, and so I went up to 2. And so now it is way faster than the drive I was using as my game drive before, which was another SSD. And so I've been installing games on that drive and going like, oh, actually, this is snappier than it was before. This is how an SSD is kind of supposed to feel. And that's been a weird change as well. But yeah,
playing games better than waiting for games. I'm going to stake out my position here.
That's bold, but I'll support it.
Yep. God, what else do we have going on? I feel like everybody's just kind of in a holding pattern until Cyberpunk comes out, but
yeah, kind of. I've just been doing backlog stuff.
Yeah, same. I'm just kind of I am trying to not just do every side thing in Spider-Man so I can actually get through the story, but there's a lot of it to do, and I keep doing it.
I wanted to unlock one of the ladies in Call of Duty, but I have to extract successfully 3 times in the zombies mode, and so I found myself playing the fucking zombies mode in Call of Duty.
How are the zombies?
They've never looked more dead or more Nazi-ish.
Oh.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. It's weird. You play like for a long time, the zombies mode had its own cast of characters and its own little story, and it was like this one's got a wacky 80s motif and Hasselhoff is in it. Like stupid shit like that. This one you just play as whatever characters you have unlocked from the regular multiplayer, and so it's just like now I'm Frank Woods shooting zombies, and Frank Woods being like the dumbest written character maybe in the history of video games, certainly this year. He's like, yeah, fuck you, you undead sack of shit. Like just like constantly Frank Woodsing it up by cursing at zombies. I don't think it's much fun, and I have failed to extract. I've been playing solo. It's got a solo mode, which I assume tunes it specifically for one player. And after 10 rounds, it gives you the offer to extract. I got there once, but didn't actually make it to the radio to signal the extraction. Oh. And so the idea of like doing that 3 times to unlock the British lady at some point, I'm like, what am I even fucking doing? Why am I fucking doing this? Also, they put Nuketown in it because of course they did.
Sure. Mm-hmm. So there's 9 maps now.
Yeah. But one of them's fucking Nuketown. And so it's just like, now we got a new playlist, Nuketown 24/7, because people just want to play Nuketown over and over again, I guess. Still.
They break out the mode install list when you install that game on PC.
Yeah.
And I started to just uncheck zombies. The space savings was so small. I was like, fine.
Yeah, it's fine. One map. It's not, right. Yeah, it's like not a big
5 gig or something. I was like, okay, fine.
Yeah. And there are camos you can use in the competitive multiplayer if you can unlock in zombies mode. So hey.
Yeah, exciting. Ben, how did the end of Yakuza treat you?
It's kind of a bummer.
Oh no.
Yeah, Alex is making it sound like in the meeting yesterday he was also cool on parts of that game a little bit.
Oh, well, he's not. He's pretty like in the middle. I know he's taking it slow because he's working on Assassin's Creed and stuff. I shouldn't say it was completely a bummer, and I don't think it was. I think last week was like I was at the best part of that game, and the back third I ran into a couple issues. First, hit a point of grinding this huge difficulty bump that I had seen people talking about. The IGN review really dinked, like really kind of like their major complaint about it was that difficulty spike. And I'm like, yeah, I've played some RPGs. Like I'll do just a little bit of extra grinding as I go so I don't have to do like a massive grindathon at any point. And granted, I'm not the greatest JRPG player in the world. Like I'm sure I could have done it a little more optimally. But I hit a point around chapter 12 where I seriously had to grind for experience materials for weapon crafting and job experience for about 8-9 hours before I could progress past the boss. And if that had happened to me 20 hours into the game rather than 70 hours into the game, I might have just put it down at that point. They make it kind of easy because they unlock this sort of like dungeon where it's like all new enemies and it's just like levels of dungeons and you're getting special rewards after each one. And there's kind of like challenges on every floor. So it actually gave me so like you can really breeze through the story in that mode up until that point, just kind of mashing your way through. So I had that tower really actually helped me kind of appreciate the combat in that game a little more, the nuance a little more, like learning how to exploit weaknesses better, learning how to utilize different job classes and stuff better. There's of course a way to cheese it. Like I eventually looked up, there's like a straight up EXP cheese. If you're really like miffed at that, you could probably do it in a third of the time I did if you just want to like cheese it out. People told, like when I started complaining about that, people told me it's a very Dragon Quest thing. Just like big boss difficulty spikes.
Yeah.
I haven't played many
I mean,
of those
like the
games.
old Final Fantasies did the same thing. It's just kind of a classic JRPG trope of like fucking spend 5 hours running in a circle fighting battles before you can beat this boss.
Yeah, so maybe that was intentional. Maybe they were just directly trying to pay homage to that. But that was a bummer. And then there was just like some story stuff that I can't really talk about for reasons, but they fell into some traps that I was really hoping they were going to avoid with this game. And it was just kind of deflating after everything. Like I thought they were just doing a really good job. It's hard to talk about without getting into specifics.
Okay, well, here's my vague question. Can you play this game, I don't know, let's just randomly say like halfway through and be good? Like
define good.
Like like feel like you got what you needed. Like I want to play this game, but hearing that it's 70+ hours with like Cyberpunk coming out next week and stuff, I'm like, I'm trying to strategically decide when to start it. Like if you don't have to do all 70 hours, maybe it's a little bit more doable.
I guess that just kind of comes down to what you're looking for out of it, because like you probably get most of the picture of what is in this game once you have a full party. Like once you have 3 other people in your party and you're kind of introduced to the like, okay, here are the different job archetypes and stuff like that. You kind of unlock the job system, you unlock like the whole area. It's not really gated off. The like city at the beginning isn't really gated off. It's just like tougher enemies are further and further into the city. So you're just like, if you want to go up there for a side quest, you really got to like avoid people. But at a certain point, you can kind of walk around more freely without worrying about that stuff. And that's probably, I don't know, like 20-ish hours. The story kept me going. And I think like ultimately it does pay off on a lot of the things it sets up. But I guess, I was talking to some people who were more into Yakuza than I, and they kind of agree that most of those games kind of fall flat at the end. Like they don't really know how to bring everything back together. Yeah. So that's kind of a disappointment. But overall, I really think like if they wanted to do like a Dragon 2, I would be psyched. I think this is a really strong shot at like a studio that wanted to make something that wasn't a Yakuza game while still making a Yakuza game.
Yeah, did I ask that question last week? That does this feel like the jumping off point for like 7 more games with these characters? Or
it definitely could be. It super could be. Like they're in their own part of Japan, and so they're like, we're over here doing our thing. We're not really worried about the Tojo clan. So there could be Ichiban could be back, and I would welcome it. Like but I also they proved that they can kind of branch out, and so if they want to do something completely wild and out there for their next game, I'd be totally on board for that too.
A racing game.
Honestly, there's like a kart racer in the game. One of the mini games is called Dragon Kart. And it's fine. Like it's as good as you want like a racing mini game in a game to be. But like as I was playing it, I was like, there's some interesting ideas for power-ups here and like course things. Like making a full-on racing game might not be the craziest thing in the world.
All right. Let's see here. Jan?
Yes.
You're playing
you don't want to talk about the fact that I beat physical fitness?
Wait, what? That's a lifelong pursuit. There's
No, I rolled credits on exercise.
On fitness. Great.
okay.
Awesome.
Well, now
I haven't done that on the Peloton yet.
Never
I
have
don't,
wait.
there's no guide for that.
How are your achievements going though?
Oh, poor. I just want to say one thing about Ring Fit. Don't quit Ring Fit in the middle of the last world because it will take you 2.5 months to come back to it. Because holy shit, is that last world fucking hard? Holy crap, man. They got you doing like 50 squats. They got you doing just all these like megaton presses and shit. And I'm just like, I'm out of shape. I haven't done you in 2.5 weeks. I had to go back into old worlds and grind out side quests that I hadn't done. And I'm like, this is baby shit. I'm killing all these monsters in one hit. I'm not getting enough extra. Like, there was just. Once you start that game, don't stop. That is my advice to anyone who is looking to start Ring Fit, because getting back into it, really fucking rough. Fuck Drago.
He broke you.
Wow.
Is that what you're saying?
Is that what you do at the end?
But now he's sorry. Big plot spoilers for Ring Fit Adventure coming up. Alert, alert. Take off your headphones if you don't want to hear a big plot spoiler for Ring Fit Adventure.
Hang on, I'm covering my ears, but it's not working. Shit.
Goodbye.
Drago's my personal trainer now. So,
Wow.
I think in probably I'm going to give myself 6 weeks. I'll be like as buff as him.
Yep. Yeah.
It's in the game. All right.
Okay.
Jan, you wanted to... What's up with Pokemon Go, man?
Oh man. Okay. So yesterday, Pokemon Go, for the longest time, the max level was 40, and yesterday they increased the level cap to 50.
Oh shit.
Yeah. And my partner has been on level 39 for maybe the last year and a half. And as soon as she saw that you get a special like medal for like, oh, you got to level 40 prior to like the level increase, you get a special medal, you get a special badge on your profile. And she was like, fuck that. I need this. So ever since they announced the level increase, she came across a couple iTunes gift cards and has loaded her account with coins.
Came across a couple of gift cards, I see.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And then she has been telling me, it's like, okay, I know you don't want to pay for Pokemon Go, so just drive me to these raids. We'll stay in the car, and I'll raid with these people that are probably not here.
Is that how raids are actually going down now? Is it just straight up like drive-in movie theater? Just everybody in the car?
Well, pretty much, yeah. So like, before you'd have to go up to like the physical Pokestop or the gym, but now as long as it's within view of your map, you can enter it because of the remote raid passes. So theoretically, if you lived in the city in a very populated part of town where you could see hella gyms, you could just pop into those raids no problem. But since like we're in a car and we're just like driving to the touristy parts of downtown SF and all those places are empty, so you can just park anywhere you want now, she's just racking up the raids. But then we had done the math for her. She would have to do, if she's cracking open her lucky eggs, and her lucky eggs double her XP.
Gotta crack open those lucky eggs.
Gotta crack them open. She would have to do about 120 5-star raids before the end of the year, so she could still qualify for the special badge and reach level 40. And then when I looked at my account, where I'm trying to, I'll toss like $5 here and there. I'm on level 35. I didn't want to do the math because it would make me feel really, really sad that it would be near impossible to reach level 40 by the end of this year. But she's going for it. She was like, "All right, cool. You're doing your podcast. I'm a hit up the cemetery. Peace."
As you do.
Yeah, yeah. So she's out there raiding, hopefully safely.
So it's been a long time since I played Pokemon Go. What do you get from leveling up?
I don't know.
Satisfaction.
Why is it a big deal that they raised the cap?
A sense of accomplishment.
Well, because like there's been so many accounts that have been like stagnant at level 40 that those people have stopped playing, right?
Sure.
And then like
they stopped spending money.
Exactly.
Yeah, I get all
exactly
this.
it.
I get why.
the numbers go up, and I think there's some stuff tied into your account, your like level account. Like you can only boost up your Pokemon's power levels past a certain level if you're only a certain level or whatever.
Right.
But otherwise, like other benefits, I don't believe you're getting much other than just having that number on your profile and flexing. But man, it just seems like such a slog. And if she didn't acquire those iTunes gift cards, then like, dude, it'd be impossible to play that game for free and get to level 40 unless you're catching every single Pokemon that's popping off around you like 24/7. Which I guess you could do if you had like the little Pokemon ball like auto catcher, but even then you're like filling up your box space, so you'd have to like throw Pokemon away.
Gotta fill up that box space.
That's right. You want to talk about numbers going up and level adjustments and filling up those bags?
I feel like it's her destiny to get to level 40 though, so I have to see her there.
World of Warcraft.
Oh, I thought you were going to say destiny.
No.
Did you know they flattened everybody's levels in World of Warcraft to 50?
What? Why?
Is that low or high?
That's low.
That's low. It used to be like what, like 120 or
They were in
something?
the 130s or something like that now.
Yeah.
Which that means that the warlock that I made in 2004, who has been level 7 for about 15 years, is now level 4.
Congrats.
So,
oh no,
damn
I
it!
Thought I would let people know if anybody's looking to get back into WoW.
What about my level 55 or 6 warrior that I made at launch?
Is that Dawn Sandwich?
Yeah.
Why do I remember the name of your warrior from Warcraft?
I don't know.
From WoW
It's weird.
launch?
I feel weird that I remember it.
I remember why do I? Fuck, man. What was your played?
It was
Because I remember most everybody's like fucking character names from that era.
I mean, I was probably what? God damn, I don't know, 3, 4. I mean, if you on my played on like launch retail, I think was probably like 300, 400 hours.
Yeah, I mean, like if we factor beta,
If we factor in the beta time,
into that,
yeah,
all bets are off.
Yeah.
Anyway, I downloaded WoW and played for about 15 minutes and then deleted WoW again.
Smart. Smart.
Yep,
How'd it look?
kind of the same. I mean, granted, I'm still in that 2004 starting zone, so I couldn't really tell you beyond that. But anyway. All right, video games. Let's move on to a break. Ponder our existences.
Yeah.
And then we'll be back with some news. Stay tuned. We're back. Jeff, did you eat any more vitamins during the break?
No. I was reading an article about how death cap mushrooms are everywhere and it's bad.
Did you eat any of those?
No.
Do you have any?
No.
Illegal. Well, not here.
Yeah. No, they're just I don't know. I just was on the internet during the break reading some wrestling news, and then suddenly I found myself reading an article about death cap mushrooms. Apparently they're spreading across North America.
You watching any wrestling, Jeff?
No. Nope. Not even no.
They still doing the empty arena thing?
Yeah.
Kind.
Well, AEW has some people in, but they're in like a large area that is partially outdoors, I think.
You should see how it is in Japan. There's people there in attendance, but they can only clap.
Yeah. No talking. No
hooting or hollering.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's very polite.
It was polite wrestling. Huh.
Yeah, no, I keep wanting to get back into AEW. I watched their last pay-per-view. That was the last thing that I saw, and that was good. But no weekly TV. It's been nice.
How's Kenny Omega doing?
He's got his own line of
Fantastic.
supplements out now.
Okay. Yeah. Have you eaten any of those?
No, I want to know if they're going to be better or worse than Ico Pro. So find out someday.
Only one way to find out. All right, I got a group of headlines here. Let's get into the news for the week. Tom Warren at The Verge decided to go there with the headline, "Why is the PS5 outperforming the, quote, world's most powerful console?" I don't know how much you guys have kept up with the arms race on the digital foundries of the world. That shit seems to be getting heated in a way that, like, is surprising even to me, who has been watching this
nonsense
play out for decades now.
It's the, you know,
Like I feel like that, like we are very close to people starting to scream fake news at benchmarks of games coming out. Like it's starting to take on. It is taking on that feel.
Yeah, it's I mean, I feel like I noticed like a few months ago. It's just this feeling of just like this like dumb fanboy shit's worse than it ever has been.
There is a hostility to it that is like kind of startling to me.
Like, I think it just kind of speaks to just how that same mentality has infected a lot of other parts of the world these days, and just people just carrying that shit back into games.
Yes.
It carried out of games some years ago, and now it is coming back.
For sure. Anyway, all that said, Digital Foundry and some other outlets have been doing their thing with games coming out on the new consoles, and like a surprising number of instances, the PS5 has been out in front of the Xbox. Dirt 5, certain aspects of Devil May Cry and Call of Duty. Assassin's Creed was another pretty notable one. And, like Aaron Greenberg tweets from 6 months ago where he proclaims the Series X the world's most powerful console.
People dissecting the numbers
and the numbers. Yes. Like that was just kind of the narrative going into these launches was like, oh, the Xbox has got a healthy performance lead over the PS5. Anyway, like Tom Warren has been doing some asking around with developers, and it sounds like the big thing they are citing is that Xbox development kits and software libraries went out super late. That they've just straight up had access to PS5 development hardware and resources for significantly longer. That a lot of the SDK stuff has just been coming online much more slowly for the Xbox.
Interesting. I wonder if that's anything to do with like all that AMD stuff. Well, I guess that's in both consoles. I was gonna say it's all relatively new, but I guess that's
Sony did more custom stuff in their hardware from the sounds of it. In fact, like Microsoft has straight up been out there saying like, yeah, we were waiting on AMD features to happen before we went into production.
Okay.
So they've all but said themselves that they were later on this stuff. But I mean, he mentions in the story that one developer tells me Microsoft's switch to the new GDK has been troublesome for basic things like user profile switching or gamepad linking. So like, it sounds like they are having to relearn a lot of the stuff that they already knew.
Interesting. I think that's something else. When we talk about like getting into a game quickly and all that sort of stuff, like I'm amazed that so many Xbox games still do the thing of like you hit A at the main menu and then it pops out to say like, hey, is this one account that's logged in? Is this you? You're like, yes, motherfucker. Yes. That it still does that.
Yeah. So. Yeah, I don't know. They are mostly chalking this up to just like development stuff on the back end not being where it needs to be yet on the Microsoft side, as opposed to like some phantom power disadvantage that this console is at. He does say in here, I understand Microsoft is still quietly confident that bigger and more obvious performance gains will appear on Xbox over time, thanks to full RDNA 2 support and its maturing developer tools.
But yeah, we'll see. And now, I wonder if some of that'll filter down. I know as people have picked apart some Series S games, it's gone from like, hey, this thing's really cool to like, when they said 1440p, they really probably should have been saying 1080p because really these games aren't necessarily running great and the image quality differences are noticeable in a way that you maybe wouldn't have thought from the way they presented this stuff. So I wonder if that'll end up seeing some additional benefit there if that's the case. It has been interesting. Like I think coming into the launch of these consoles, like the narrative had definitely formed of just like, oh, well, based on the numbers and talking to devs who are pulling some of that stuff apart, like there was a lot of talk saying like, the Xbox is like clearly a more powerful machine, but and then I think for me, the thing is like and again, the most visible stuff to me has been the load times and the controller stuff. Mm-hmm. And so I want to know if Microsoft can get there with the load time stuff. That was why, we're talking about Immortals and how it loads and, the loads are fast, but it loads as often as a game of that type would last generation, like there are cases where there's, a challenge where you just have to run from one end of a track to another. It's like a 10-second challenge. But if you fail it and need to quick restart, it's like 5 or 6 seconds to just warp you back like, 30 feet in game. And you're like, well, why you could have done that? You could have done that better, I think.
Right.
I mean, do you
So
see a
some of that
loading
stuff
screen?
is bound to be.
Like,
that?
I feel. Do you see a loading screen there? Like, I feel like
Yes.
I am just seeing more traditional loading screens on the Xbox right now, where
Yes.
the PS5 is like stretching a fade to black as long as realistically possible,
Right.
just to avoid putting something that looks like a loading screen there. Or like Demon's Souls,
but make the fade slower. Let's have some fog.
Like, let's make Demon's Souls just have a bunch of
Demon's Souls,
fog as opposed to a loading bar. So you don't think
there's
about it.
definitely like an art to that masking, right?
Yeah.
It's the short, fast version of the Mass Effect elevator ride, just over and over again.
Yeah.
But yeah, like there's definitely like some aspect of this that is just like developers need to get used to what they're going to do with these platforms and that speed, right? So like Immortals seems like a game that was, and it is on old consoles, right? So, it feels like a last gen game in a ton of ways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder if I played a little bit of a game called Spirit of the North on PS5, which like I guess has been out on PC for like 6 months or something. It's like a pretty light Journey-esque kind of, you're a fox in the Arctic, kind of, reviving spirits of, it's one of those kind of narrative like adventure,
As you do.
adventure type games.
Yeah.
The pathless.
But it runs at 60 frames a second, and I feel like we might be getting spoiled on this honeymoon period where everything is running like that. And like,
Right. It's like, hey, these older games that aren't pushing the hardware.
Totally. Totally. Like, are we going to slam face first into a wall in 6 months or a year where all of a sudden everything is back to like low frame rates?
Next Christmas is
Right.
suddenly like,
Right.
hey, performance and fidelity
Totally.
both run at 30.
Yes, totally.
But one is stable 30.
Every developer's like, we want to try out that ray tracing, so we're going to just give you this, and it's back to, I don't know.
Right.
We'll see how that stuff goes.
I mean, I think that was my main problem with games like God of War on the PS4 Pro, right? It was like neither option felt right
totally.
or good. And
That was by no means the only reason I stopped playing that game, but it was not an insignificant factor
yeah.
to that.
Yeah. So yes, we will absolutely get right back to that point. Like when? Like was it like 18 months? I mean, next Christmas? Like it won't take long.
I would guess next year sometime it's going to start happening,
Gross.
which is going to be a real bummer.
Yeah. Jeez. Not looking forward to that.
Yeah. Let's see. Some other investigative reporting going on. Patrick Klepek at Vice got his hands on some of the internal documents that Sony was using to pitch the activities feature on the PS5, which like is kind of a lot of rhetoric that you would expect about people, kind of talking about like a lot of our audience is busy and they have kids and they have responsibilities and they don't have hours to remember what they were doing in a game every night, let alone actually play it for that long. So like let's give them easier ways to like jump in for 20 minutes and do something meaningful and then get out and stuff like that. But like I think the only like kind of data oriented aspect of this that's interesting is that and he didn't run the actual slides that he has for kind of confidentiality reasons, but he described a bunch of the stuff that they posted a bunch of sales figures showing like GTA 5 and Call of Duties being like the top sellers on the platform, but that a lot of the internal kind of telemetry they've got indicates that their audience is still spending more time in offline single player games than they are multiplayer. So it seems like that was a reason for them to prioritize a feature like this. But that's
I think that's another one of those things that like the first party games are using it well, and Call of Duty uses it okay for like if you want to jump into a multiplayer match in a specific mode, you can do it, and it's kind of hit and miss. But I wonder, as developers get more of a feel for that stuff, combined with depending on how well the consoles do and how incentivized they are to use the console specific features, like will they really take advantage of it?
Yeah, I want to see more third-party games and how they are handling that stuff. Like I've mentioned it before, but I still find myself avoiding it in like Spider-Man because I'd want to kind of keep a sense of where stuff is in the game world, and like that game's got the little phone app that you pick activities off of, and like I feel like if I'm dialing into all that stuff through the system interface, I'm going to lose track of what's what in the actual game at a certain point. You know what I mean? It's like, eventually you're just picking missions and challenges off of a menu, and it starts feeling less like a cohesive whole.
That's fine. I mean, that's not nothing, but I don't know that I need to care about the world of Miles Morales as one contiguous open world space.
Sure.
Certain games will that'll matter more. the idea of how things are linked together and all that. But the idea that I could just like fast travel around the world from the activities thing for Miles Morales, I think works out really well.
Sure.
Like if you were to do it in Demon Souls, if you could just like warp right to every single fast travel point from that thing, that might start to seem a little weird.
I think that's how that works.
Is that how they do it?
I haven't messed with that stuff much there, but yeah, because in that game, traditionally you have to get to the fast travel point to actually go somewhere else, right? Like they force you to backtrack through enemies or whatever. There is some amount of investment to being able to warp around, and this just lets you circumvent that entirely, right?
Does it? Because I mean,
I believe
I would imagine it wouldn't show up on the activity list until you have found it. Like, I'm not going to be able to warp to the fast travel point that's after that first boss until I beat that first boss.
Yeah, you have to have gotten there.
Right.
But once you have, they add it to your activity list. People in the chat are saying you can warp around that way, but that you give up like souls that you haven't banked if you do it.
Okay.
Like that. So there is some trade-off.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I think as long as they're smart about it, I think for some games where they want that to matter specifically, and Demon Souls is a really good example of that. Like they need to make sure that stuff still matters. But for a game like Miles Morales, it is just that app is just a big checklist of side missions and all that other stuff too. It's just a different way to present that stuff.
Yeah.
And if I can look at that outside of the game and choose where to jump in and where it puts me, if it puts me in front of the thing I want to do, instead of like at whatever fast travel, and then I have to basically go into the menu, pick a fast travel point that's hopefully closer to the mission start, and then go over there and then start it. Like that's not going to be great gameplay time in every single game. Sometimes it will be, depending on the game. But in Miles Morales, I was happy to just like start right before the mission start point. In some of those
that's maybe not the best example because like one city block is not that different from the next in that game.
Yeah, like the things you're missing is just like, there are some random crimes and stuff that are happening,
right?
And you're not getting trick XP for doing tricks all while you're swinging, and eventually I stopped using it. I wasn't using it in the middle of a session. I would use to start a session, but once I was in there, generally speaking, I think the stealth challenges, like those challenges they put in there, are the one case where I'm like, oh no, I just go to the activity list for those because I don't want to have to find them on the map and hunt them down and go over there and stuff. But
sure.
But yeah.
Let's see what else is going on this week. Jeff Grubb, a friend of the podcast,
Grubb,
appearing on a different podcast. I see. He was on the Xbox Empire podcast last week, where he got up to talking about some Forza stuff he has heard.
Okay.
Which is primarily that he expects Forza Horizon 5 to be out next year, and that Forza Motorsport is further out, which is like a kind of upending the whole Forza cycle, right, for the first time.
Yeah.
There has never been a case where two Forza Horizons came out consecutively without,
right.
It's like Forza Motorsport kind of being the tentpole of that franchise.
Yes, classically yes, but I feel like that should flip.
Yeah.
Really?
Like they're kind of different enough still, right, that they're sort of serving somewhat different audiences.
Super different.
Okay.
They are so different.
Right.
Horizon.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Horizon is a game for everyone.
Yeah.
Sure, yes.
You don't have to be a car weirdo to enjoy it.
I feel like it's better if you are, though. Like I feel like I'm missing stuff by not being a car weirdo when I play these games.
They're definitely like, you care about a specific type of car. It's cool that they put it in there. Like, you're going to care about those sorts of things. But like, that's just added context. Like the core part of playing Forza Horizon, it's a fun open world driving game, and you do stuff and you get into races and they do dumb shit, and then I'm like, here's the Halo Warthog, fuck it.
You're not learning how to shave seconds off of a turn. Exactly. You're not learning. Yeah, it's just get out, have some fun, race around, like with good physics. I don't want to say it's like some Mario Kart, arcade shit, but like,
you can't have one without the other, like right. Horizon is built on the work that they have done over the years in motorsports. It's like, hey, we really care about car physics. We really care about this handling. We really care about the simulation aspect of a car game. And Horizon is able to take that and filter it in a way that like makes it just more palatable to more people, just point blank. Like, it's going to reach more people because of the type of game it is. And motorsport, I think it's good. It can appeal to a wider audience than it did in the early days or early Gran Turismos before they kind of figured out like, here's some assist modes we can include to just kind of broaden its appeal. But at the end of the day, it's the Nürburgring. It's, you know, it's these real tracks, and not 100% of them are real world tracks, but it is very much road racing. It is very much trying to be like, hey, don't crash because your lap time won't matter. And you're like, oh, I don't care about that at all. I'm going to crash.
I hope we get some fun DualSense integration on
you
those
will
games.
not get good DualSense integration in a Forza game.
Oh, correct. Yeah. Yes.
But Gran Turismo, I bet will use that shit pretty well.
Yeah.
My question, now that seasons have changed everything, what's left to change?
Cars.
Yeah, he also
have 5 wheels.
He also implied on this podcast that he knows what the setting is, but he wouldn't say.
They should do Japan. That was the big rumor last time around, and people were really hyped for it, and they didn't follow through, and they should do it.
You were 100% right.
Oh, that'd be really cool.
We've done season changing. How about time hopping? You know, you're just driving around, and all of a sudden you're in ancient Japan, and you're doing wheelies in front of a samurai, and he's like, "What?"
Spinning Brodies in the Edo era. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the bigger question out of all this for me is just like, what is... I don't want to imply that like the motorsport development is troubled or anything like that, but it's just, this is by far the biggest step back they have taken with that franchise, because they were on such a reliable, like every 2 years.
They were, but I think
like Forza 7 was an Xbox One X launch game, to put it in perspective. Like that was 3 years ago, and he's talking,
and it got knocked. It was not what you want it to be, because they probably rushed it out for launch, and they made some bad choices with that game. So I think if you want Forza Motorsport, like that game is more in need of an overhaul than Horizon is, because Horizon benefits from just like, hey, it's a different open world. Even if the challenges and concepts are the same, which they've gotten a little stale over those 4 games. 4 brought it back on track, I think, better than 3. But like Forza Motorsport, I think is like hit that point of diminishing returns, where I feel like that game kind of got perfected around like Forza 4. And yes, the graphics got better and all other stuff, and they made meaningful changes, but like they really found their peak around there, and it's kind of been a little bit of diminishing returns ever since. So I think that obviously they're moving to a new platform, so there's greater opportunities for a graphical overhaul, you know, and tech changes and all that sort of stuff. But I really think it would benefit Turn 10 and it would benefit that franchise if they were able to take a little more time and just take a longer look at like, well, what's the game we really want to make? If we really want to honor the legacy of cars and make these sexy cars that you want to bone
go on, like
in a video game form, how do you really achieve that? And I think, you know, 7 just kind of came and went. It didn't really do it the way you want to do it. And so, yeah, I think if this gives them more time to really take more time to really think about what Forza Motorsport means and what it can be, they would probably benefit from that.
Yeah, like in fairness, they're probably doing what they should be doing right now.
Yes.
This caused a Dan Greenewalt post on the Xbox Wire to start recirculating, this rumor going around.
Okay.
Which I had forgotten about. I kind of got buried in all the other new console streams and stuff this past summer. But he flat out says in this post, the new Forza Motorsport, currently in early development, is a reimagining of the series. You know, he kind of goes into a lot of detail about ray tracing and 4K 60 and a bunch of that stuff, but we are taking what has made Forza Motorsport great over the past 15 years and pairing it with new game concepts and new technology. So, like, it sounds like they are trying to give it a good rethink.
That's what it needs. And I think that was an announcement that came sometime after they said, like, hey, we are going to take some time off a little bit and support.
Kind of the revelation of this rumor is that I would have thought next year would be the year, you know, because that's 4 years since the last one, and that's like that would get them back on that kind of leapfrogging release schedule that they have been on. So to hear that it's perhaps even another year out from that is, you know, so that is a chunk of time for a series that has been very reliable for a long time.
Yeah, Microsoft needs, and it's weird because in some ways Forza felt like the last like regular, routine, reliable franchise they had. You know, Gears obviously took a big break and came back, and you know, Halo obviously, who knows when that'll come out. Like it just, the franchise players for Microsoft just feel over the Xbox One generation, it feels like they just kind of fell off and they didn't find the right things to replace them with.
Yeah.
And so they're just kind of in a weird spot where it's like, I don't even know, like they're going to do Fable.
Sure. But I mean,
whatever that is now.
Everything you're talking about is kind of the natural consequence of those same tentpoles being there since the 360 days, right? Like,
sure.
Like they didn't necessarily replace Gears and Halo and Forza with like equally popular stuff last generation, right? So
Recore didn't do it for them.
Man, I downloaded Recore the other day and didn't actually launch it, but I looked at
Immortals Fenyx Rising reminds me a little bit of Recore in a way.
Man, I like Recore in concept. It just wasn't finished.
Yeah, and they did finish it. They reissued, they did that definitive edition at some point that I always looked at and went like, if they really cleaned up Recore and put in the work to do it, like I bet that game would be absolutely fine.
It was all right. Yes,
because it was even okay. It was even okay when it first came out. It wasn't terrible.
The quintessential B game for sure.
Yes,
just some cutesy sidekicks and like a resolute action hero and a bunch of platforming, and it's just it was fine.
It's fine.
Yeah. I'll play a game like that again sometime. Let's see. Speaking of Microsoft first-party IP, rumor about Halo Infinite having Battle Royale has been going around the last few days. Enough that Brian Gerard of 343 got out there on Twitter and said this.
Said, what's Battle Royale?
Nothing gets a post-holiday Monday going like fresh, unfounded Halo Infinite rumors. But then he followed that up by saying, I'm aware we could help solve this with real news. We certainly have some things we're overdue on and eager to talk more about. We're in the process of pulling together a year-end update. So I'm not sure that exactly sounds like a denial.
Yeah.
Maybe it's
that sounds like a confirmation to me. Honestly, that sounds like I feel like they could have denied it if they wanted to deny it.
Yeah, like he did call the rumors unfounded, but I feel like that's kind of open to interpretation. Like,
and also if the multiplayer aspect of that game, especially, is going to be some evolving thing, the way a lot of live service multiplayer, like competitive multiplayer games are these days, like they could get there even if they don't do it when they do launch, like. I mean, Hyperscape has a team deathmatch mode now.
What?
All bets are off. Like, and apparently it's like neat. I'm gonna re-download Hyperscape and try it out because it sounds like it's pretty fun in a way that maybe the Battle Royale mode they launched on isn't. So, is that going to be the thing? Are we going to see games going the other way and pivoting out of Battle Royale if they realize that's not going to do it for them? It's fucking weird.
I would play a Halo Battle Royale. That sounds cool. Like,
I'm sure some executive at the Halo offices was like, yo, guys, have you heard about these Battle Royales? Can you put one in Halo? And so they had to come up with like, okay, if we were going to do a Battle Royale, here's how we would do it. So like they've obviously been thinking about this for a long time. And I trust them. I mean, like Halo, original Halo, just like changed the game on multiplayer shooters. Like, obviously it had influences from other games and stuff, but like, I wouldn't be surprised if they had some sort of fresh take on a Battle Royale that other people that we haven't seen. I mean, we're still seeing iterations on Battle Royale that are interesting. I mean, I'm about to go play a Worms Battle Royale after this podcast, so who knows?
Yeah, I think that there's like, I don't know what the tone of people reacting to this rumor was. If it was one of outrage or hell yeah, I could see either. I'd be open to it.
Yeah.
Like I'm not, but I'm also like, I'm definitely not precious about Halo multiplayer. Like I think that they should make sweeping changes to it. And I was one of the people that when they said we made it so you could run in Halo, I was like, fuck, finally. Just plodding, slow fucking moving game. And they didn't quite do the running the way that I, a Call of Duty player, want them to do running. But they shouldn't just make it like Call of Duty. That doesn't serve anyone either.
They did do aim down sights in a very similar way, though.
Yeah, they did.
Which, fine by me. I don't know. It's like Halo's just got such a kind of wacky, off the wall assortment of weapons and vehicle action and all that stuff that like throw all that into like an unpredictable mix of you don't know exactly what you're going to get, and the same is true of 99 other people or however it plays out. Like that could be
put me in a team in a fucking warthog and let someone blow up that warthog in a way that makes the warthog go flying. Like, those emergent dumb physics moments that Halo was good at, married to Battle Royale, which at its best has all of those dumb emergent stories and all that other goofy shit. Like, sure, you could do something. You could definitely do something.
That would be cool. I'd be into that.
Oh, just Spartan lasers going off everywhere.
Sure.
Spartan laser, since it's a laser, it should just go all the way across the map no matter what.
Yeah.
And occasionally you accidentally get like 2 fucking kills from a mile away, and you're like, some aimbot shit right there. But
somehow kill yourself.
Right. Yeah. Like wraps around the world. Yeah.
You try and drop as fast as you can and just shoot back up with a laser.
Yeah.
Speaking of battle royales, I feel like Apex came out on Steam with like no fanfare at all. Which
they launched a new season around the same time, and
new map.
Just kind of surprised me that like I thought it was going to be kind of a big deal. I mean, I was waiting for that game to come out on Steam so I could uninstall Origin, which I did quickly.
And then you ran it, and then it quickly just automatically reinstalls Origin.
I didn't see any sign of it actually. I don't know.
No, you do have to log in.
Like I know there's like there's some thin client there, but
you have to. Yes, that's exactly it. You have to log in with your Origin account, but it's not a full on.
Hit your Windows key and type in Origin and tell me if it comes up.
It's not having to. Well, I'm running the stream right now. That could be dangerous.
Well, but I'm pretty sure it just straight up installed Origin.
Nothing.
Really?
No.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. That's what I mean. Like there may be some thin version of it in there somewhere, but it's not. It's not like I have to open Origin to update Apex anymore.
Right.
Like that's what I'm getting at. Is I just the fewer launchers, the better. But
I played a little bit of Apex when it came out on Steam, and then realized like, oh, I am better at this on console, and. So when we got PS5s in, actually, I did play some Apex there as well, and Apex is good. That's still a good game.
I mean, I watched the intro for the new season and realized I'm not familiar with like half the new characters at this point, so I was like, this is maybe kind of a lot to come back to.
The new characters got Black Hole.
Okay, all right.
Gross.
I can see the merit. Let's see here. Square Enix released some financials recently that indicated that the Avengers game from Crystal Dynamics has not yet recouped its development investment.
Bummer.
Yes. They posted a roughly $67 million operating loss last quarter due to that. So
yeah, I think there was like they teased that out of some of the question and answers.
Yeah.
From the earnings call, right? Yes. Where they said like, we would have probably been, profitable if not for this.
Yes.
Because they spent a bunch of money, and then they talk a lot about marketing costs in this IGN
it's not
story.
You're right. It's not all development costs. They also say they made a significant marketing investment around that game.
And like so I don't know about y'all, but I got a ton of Avengers ads for like the last patch that they put out. Like Instagram ads, like every time I was like, patch 1.3 is out, check out the patch notes. It was like this most desperate looking thing about like, oh God, please, we fucking fixed it. Oh, just, but like the way it had been written was like in a way that like just seemed weird. It's like they ran ads for a fucking patch. Like, hey, we made the game suck shit less.
No, didn't get any of those.
I got a ton of them. And it was just crazy to see an ad campaign for a patch. And so that just says to me that like they are desperately trying to fucking get this game to catch on. Maybe not now. That was a few weeks ago or something. I don't know, man. This sucks. A lot of people worked damn hard on that game, and I don't want to knock them. But on some level, hearing that this like questionably made and in some ways quite poor, but in other ways merely average, like online live game shooter, that it didn't catch on despite having one of the most popular licenses in the world attached to it. Like I kind of feel good about consumers in a weird way. Because we remember before this came out, we were like, that game's going to do fine. It's fucking Avengers. They'll buy anything.
Yeah.
And like, oh wait, no, word of mouth about this game being bad actually still matters. Like it made me feel good that like you still can't quite market your way out of a bad game.
Mm-hmm.
And just feel weird hope for the world that way, I guess. And I don't want to like express like jubilation that like people fucking worked their ass off to get this game done. Like, you know, I don't, that's not what I'm trying to say, because that's shitty. But like, good. That game probably shouldn't have sold well, because it is not a game that I would feel good about recommending, despite enjoying parts of the campaign. But like, man,
it just sucks because the people who worked the hardest are not going to be, or the people like feeling the effects of this. Yeah. Those are the people being laid off. It's not like the executives who are like, no, it needs to be you need loot and it needs to live forever and blah, blah. Like those people often are not the people who feel financial strain after something like this happens. They just move on to another project.
It still feels like a case of kind of square peg round hole stuff. Square peg anyway.
I love it. I love it. I love it.
Of being like a loot-based ongoing services game, right? Because like the component of the game everybody liked the most was the one component that would have existed if it had not been a services game, which was the single-player story stuff, right?
And, you know, the stuff that like Crystal Dynamics has done pretty well with in the past is making story-driven single-player games.
Totally. So yeah, that part is a shame. Like, you know, at the same time, like, you know, write off any service game at your peril at this point, because there's been enough Final Fantasy 14 type situations.
Yeah.
I feel like at this point that like a year from now, like who knows, a year from now, this thing could be gigantic for all.
Totally. Yeah.
I mean, No Man's Sky and stuff.
And if they turn it around, I mean, that's the thing though. Like, you know, like I've got relatively high level characters in that game. Right. And so if they were to turn it around, I'd be like, hey, you know, I'll play more of that thing. But like right now, when they're like, we're putting out new characters, I'm like, I don't even care. Like whatever.
Yeah,
like,
I think
that game is so rear view right now.
First one is this month, I think.
Hawkeye,
Kate Bishop.
Do you guys think we're starting to? Do you think guys think we have passed the Marvel
hype wave train?
Yeah.
Do you, because like this is the first year without a Marvel movie. That's a big deal. This game can't be like,
there's not a single Marvel movie this year.
There's no Marvel movie this year. The last Marvel movie
Black
was
Widow
Far
got
From
delayed
Home.
till next year.
Even with the pandemic, like that is the one franchise I would have expected to just keep churning material out.
Yeah, and I feel like, you know, like Endgame was such a big deal and like so massive for them and made billions of dollars and stuff. But like, I don't know, are people? I'm just curious what you guys think. If there's going to be like if we're coming back up, or if we've kind of hit that, because this happened before with superhero movies, like Batman in the 90s and all the superhero movies that came after that. People were like, oh my God, superhero movies are the fucking hottest thing ever. And then they just were gone.
It's possible, but like as somebody who's not that invested in comics, when the phase of Marvel that just ended, when that was on the upswing, I was sitting there going like, who cares about Thor and Captain America? And like, this is not Batman. Like what?
Yeah. Like what the fuck is a Black Widow?
Right. Like that was, as a bystander, not somebody who knows comics well. I was just like, who are these like second and third tier heroes?
Even like Captain America, it's like the guy with the shield.
Right. Captain America is like maybe fourth tier out of everyone. I'm more surprised by Iron Man being so popular.
Right. The Iron Man is another one.
Iron Man was always my guy.
Totally. But like the point is, like they built those characters into the most popular superheroes out there, you know, like they did it. So like who are the figures of this? I mean, are they calling it a new phase? And like what is their
so I have the Wikipedia open. I don't know this off the top of my head, but like you're gonna get a Black Widow movie. You're gonna get an Eternals movie, another Thor, another Doctor Strange.
Give me that Shang-Chi, baby.
Shang-Chi.
Yeah. I mean, I guess it just comes down to, can they build another group of Marvel characters who were not previously that popular into
100%
gigantic cultural figures again?
Yeah, I think they could. Because like, what's going to replace it? I think if they're running unfettered, DC isn't putting it together like quite so much. And
I mean, have you seen the Snyder Cut? No.
X-Men would be the IP that I'd look to.
Did you see how many knives that guy had on him though? In the Snyder Cut?
Like that's kind of
they've done amazing things with like Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, right.
You know?
Yeah.
That's maybe a better point than Batman is. Like when these current Marvel heroes were just getting big, I was like, these are not the X-Men. Like to me, on the Marvel side, it was X-Men that was like the thing.
And Spider-Man. And like that was kind of that was kind of it for the longest time.
Right.
And then, I don't know. I saw that Doctor Strange movie. It was okay. But I think, I think what we'll see is like if things get back to normal and movie theaters can continue and we get back to all that sort of stuff, like they will just start turning the crank again. And I don't think there's nothing out there to stop them. There's no other franchises out there that will like immediately take that place. I mean, maybe something rises to take it at some point, something new.
I don't think there is necessarily anything out there to take it. I think people just are starting to like be like, Marvel superhero movies. Like, I saw a million of them.
We say that, but then I just feel like with like there's still a bunch of hype with Harry Potter, right? Despite J.K. Rowling being like trash, and like they're Fantastic Beasts series. There's supposed to be like 3 more movies. And like, there's still people buzzing about that. So I don't see if Harry Potter can't be toppled yet, and like there hasn't been one of those movies since like 2018. I don't see Marvel being pushed away just yet.
Sure. And when I say like pushed away stuff, I mean like the next one's only going to make $1 billion instead of $3 billion, right? Like,
right? No,
but I think that's a great point. I think Harry Potter is proof that you can really milk a loved franchise for as long as you want.
Unless they make another Three Ninjas movie,
Yeah. But like, that's the cinematic universe thing I don't think goes away.
No.
Everyone just the marketing synergies, all those aspects of this just have worked too well and made them too much money for anyone to ever walk away from anything ever again.
Yeah. I mean, like they tried to make a dark cinematic universe with that Mummy movie with Tom Cruise.
That stuff was man.
God.
Like Benicio del Toro, the Wolfman or something. God.
Yeah.
The dark universe.
Johnny Depp was supposed to be in that too, but then they pulled him out.
I'm gonna go dig up that publicity photo.
The Invisible Man.
Just go find that super overly serious publicity photo of the whole Dark Universe cast that they.
And they were trying to do like it was like a Hasbro, or it was like a G.I. Joe Transformers mask, like Centurions and one other thing that they were trying to ram together.
News to me. Wow.
I watched Bloodsport for the first time last night. There should be a Bloodsport cinematic universe.
I mean, the big thing for me is that these cinematic universes need to constantly be working to like creatively reinvigorate themselves. Like, I haven't seen a Marvel movie in like 4 years or whatever, but Winter Soldier was like the most exciting one that I ever saw because like
it's the best one.
They were getting into like more explicitly genre territory, where like that movie is like a straight up like 70s spy thriller, right?
Yeah.
And like I never saw Thor. What was the newest Thor?
Ragnarok. Like, I was gonna say they sprinkle those in. They sprinkle the like everyone can enjoy these ones in.
Like Ragnarok, like sounds like a straight up like comedy action comedy type thing.
Yeah, it's a complete departure from the first two films.
It seems like they started going
Jeff Goldblum doing his thing the most he possibly can.
Like that's what would get me to watch more Marvel movies is if they were more different types of movies rather than just kind of the same like action formula.
But also, what if they were just different movies? Wouldn't that be cool?
I mean, sure.
Yeah. Like that's the.
What if they all didn't have to have a post-credit stinger that sets up the next movie?
Exactly, but then they wouldn't be doing their job as like marketers and movie, marketing first, movie second, or whatever. But like they wouldn't be building the universe in a way that makes them more money if they didn't set up the next one from coming out of the last one. Like that's all part of it. So there's just too much money there and too much IP there for that shit to ever fully stop. I think like you would have to have like a serious, but I guess I would have said the same thing about Star Wars, and that stuff has definitely morphed. And that those plans seem to have changed, I guess, as those movies tanked or whatever, or did less good, whatever. I don't know. It's they'll make more of those. That's my bold prediction, is that they will continue to make Marvel movies and people will just go see them because that's what they're used to doing.
Yeah, there's a whole group of like kids out there that this is what they've grown up watching, which is wild.
Yep.
Lord of the Rings, bring it back.
Oh boy. I mean,
to me, like the news that like maybe they were going to end Fast and the Furious at some point was like, yeah, cool. They should fucking do that.
Well, I think they said the 11th one.
The 11th one would be the last one. They're like, great, yeah, fucking do it. And
plus all the spin-offs and
then they'll just fucking invest in the spin-offs and do all that stuff. But whatever.
Amazon Prime totally is doing a Lord of the Rings television series. So that is happening. As soon as Christopher Tolkien,
Bilbo going to be in it.
As soon as Christopher Tolkien died, those rights were just like, fuck it, let's just make all the money we possibly can. One more real quick Square Enix story. They, as far as I know, are the first major publisher to go on record as instituting a permanent work from home policy. I don't think anybody else has done that yet, right? Like, obviously, Twitters and Googles and, big tech has been out there kind of for some months now with these policies, right? But I'm pretty sure Square Enix is the first video game publisher I've seen.
Probably maybe the first major one, but I feel like
some indie studios obviously have been hinting at stuff like this for a while, but
and some have been doing it all along.
Yes, of course. But again, like this is this is a major corporation doing it.
Yeah.
So apparently starting today, actually, according to this press release, they're just going to give everybody, based on the nature of their work, they will be able to designate themselves as home-based or office-based, and there will be flexibility around that stuff. It also, it seems somewhat notable to me that it's a Japanese company doing this because their work culture is very traditional, and very office-based. So, like, it's cool to see some of this stuff evolving. I don't know if this is just going to be a thing.
Hopefully, people take their calisthenic breaks at home, continue their tradition. I always love that. I always honestly was like, there's a part of that that's very dark, as in like, let's make sure our employees are fit so they can do more work. But I appreciated the like, all right, everyone, just get up and fucking stretch, because like I would go whole work days without doing that.
Yeah. Yep. Unfortunately, same. Speaking of Japan, they are they are opening Super Nintendo World on February 4th. Which, I don't know, you tell me. It seems a little ambitious.
Well, we don't have to worry about that. Travel ban.
Yeah, obviously. But I just opening a theme park in 2 months.
Hey, we'll all be vaccinated by then.
It's right around the corner.
Well, I don't actually. I honestly don't know what the numbers are like in Japan right now and how safe or unsafe that actually is.
I think there are upswings.
I suspect they're better than they are here.
I think there are upswings basically everywhere, is my understanding.
Okay.
Also, a little bit I've heard is that the Japanese government is so intent on making the Olympics happen next year that I'm not sure how all that stuff is being handled, but
I can only imagine with like a new theme park and then the level of sanitation they'd have to do after everyone gets off a ride, and then the lines that would cause would just be insane.
Especially with this Mario Kart one, because you got to like put on an AR helmet and stuff. And you're probably breathing into that thing. Ugh.
But that's
I didn't even think about the AR helmet.
I feel like if there's a place that has already got things in place or things they do to overly clean a thing between people, it's Japan.
True.
Like I feel like controllers getting wiped down at demo stations and all of that. Like, let me I remember when I was in high school, a friend of mine went to Japan and he came back and he brought back all these like wet naps basically with the Sega logo on them, and said that they were just there in arcades if you wanted to wipe down the controls between people.
Oh, cool. That's
beautiful.
And mass culture has like been a thing in Japan.
Yes. Yeah. So
yeah, that obviously they say there will be kind of social distancing and sanitizing protocols in place. They do mention, this story does mention the ride headsets in particular, as far as being sanitized. But
I bet they would be doing that anyway.
Yeah,
that is my point.
Right.
Like they would probably be wiping out those headsets and doing all that stuff between people anyway. So
yeah.
My favorite part of the little video that was attached talking about the Mario Kart ride is Nintendo is already building a rumored Donkey Kong area.
Yeah, the Bloomberg reporter in this footage kind of said, like, the park is smaller than I thought.
Yeah, because like with their Harry Potter, even like it's built in Universal Studios Japan, and like the Harry Potter section here in the Universal Studios in LA is super small compared to what they lead you to believe. So I'd imagine it's just like a small chunk of the park.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably accurate. I didn't get the best sense of what this Mario Kart ride actually is from this video. They didn't show it in action. They just kind of showed the cars.
Yeah, it doesn't look like you're actually racing the carts.
Yeah.
It looks like a Cars Land type of deal where you're racing.
Do you maybe just like sit in the back seat, and when you put on the helmet, Mario is sitting in front of you?
Sure.
Like that's what I would do. Is make it so you are
playing Double Dash.
Yeah, like you are the person turning around and making AR fucking Donkey Kong Jr. spin out by throwing stuff at him.
Maybe you're chasing Mario the whole time.
Yeah.
I'm always chasing that Mario.
That's right. Just never going to catch him.
Do you think a Donkey Kong Land is based on real Donkey Kong or Donkey Kong Country?
Donkey Kong Land.
Real Donkey Kong.
Yeah, like for a Japanese theme park.
They go generic Donkey Kong on that one.
Yeah,
probably.
It's going to involve jumping over barrels.
Are there girders? Is it like construction-y?
Maybe like the end, like the last area. You're working way up something. Okay. At the end,
you got to do math problems to swing to the next vine.
You put on the AR helmet, and suddenly you are Stanley.
Fuck the Bugman.
They just have one big monkey gorilla just throwing barrels at people.
Yeah. If you could have a corner of Nintendo Land, and you're in charge of developing any sort of Nintendo game into a theme park, what do you think the best, most fun theme park could be?
Star Fox.
Oh shit. That's a really good answer.
Yeah, that'd be a really good ride.
It barrel rolls you around. Fuck.
Mario Paint.
Yeah, or Splatoon. You just come out super dirty. Or a squid.
Fire Emblem. If you die in the game, you die in real life.
But there's never been a reported death on the park.
Yeah.
Yet.
Give it time. Last story real quick. Speaking of
shut up.
Nope.
You're just punching other people.
Speaking of chasing that Mario, somebody chased a copy of Super Mario Brothers 3 to the tune of $156,000.
That's a lot of.
Apparently,
Joe, you can get that game for free on the internet. I don't know if you know this.
By far the highest auction fee yet attained by a video game.
Why this one?
I was shocked to see. So it's like apparently it's like a super early run because it's the brothers and the logo is on the left instead of the right.
Oh, okay, that explains why.
But
and it's like sealed and in good.
Yeah, it's
good
in like excellent.
shape,
It was rated as excellent or whatever the grading is or whatever. But I was just like shocked to see that it's not some. What is it? Stadium get? What's the
Stadium events?
Or like one of the Nintendo World Championship carts or like some weird ass like limited prototype or something. Like this is a straight up retail game.
I think it's the prototype stuff. I think there are a lot of collectors that aren't interested in those because it's weird stuff that isn't necessarily the stuff from their childhood. And so you get these people that made way too much money that just want like the best sealed version of the thing from when they were a kid. And they're like, I got the rarest Super Mario Brothers 3. And I think that helps drive some of those prices up.
Yeah.
So I think just the stuff that's like prototypes and one of ones and stuff that is like limited for different reasons. That stuff's all awesome, but it's like a different level of collector. It's a different type of collector.
Yeah, actually,
that wants that sort of stuff.
It makes me wonder, like, is there a certain collector's mentality that like it only counts if it went to retail? The things that were released at retail are sort of like the canon of the.
That's the set. Like if you're trying to complete a set of like sealed games, it's they aren't sealed if they're prototypes. They aren't sealed if they're not real things. And if you're trying to get a full sealed set and include variants, then you get into this weird territory with these left Super Mario Brothers,
right,
and all that sort of shit. Yes. So yeah, it's not for me, but hey,
yeah. Also, reading the story reminds me that I meant to put the whole thing in here about Mohammed bin Salman apparently owning like a third of SNK now.
Yep.
Forgot to mention that, but
oh shit! I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Oh no, that's
weird.
Yeah.
Gross. Yeah. Gross.
Yes. Not great. But anyway, all right. That's what I got for news. You guys need another quick break, or do you want to roll straight into some emails?
I can take a quick.
All right, let's take two here. Sure. I'm going to fade to black, and we'll be back with the emails. We'll see you in a minute. We're back, and I'm getting word that during the break, Galactus ate Fortnite.
Again.
All right. Finally.
Speaking of Marvel,
Wait, what happened to Travis Scott though?
hey,
I think he's busy running the PlayStation 5 now.
does he live in Fortnite? I'm not sure. What's the
He had a show.
Galactus 8 Fortnite is a really funny way to break the news that Salesforce just bought Slack for $27 billion.
27 billion?
With a B.
What else is with a B?
All right, fine. All right, on that note, all right, Ben, it's your big moment. It's time for some B-mails.
That's right. And you know what? Okay. Emails this, emails that. It's like, okay, we get it. Once in a while, you need some B-mails, shake things up. Brad,
Go on.
am I at liberty to disclose that from now on, there are no more emails in the Giant Bombcast?
That's right. There are only
at all.
B-mails.
No more emails. Dead. Get them out of here.
That's right.
Friendship with emails over. Now B-mails are my best friend. That's right.
Electronic mails no longer exist.
I am the only one. I am the holder of the key. I am the guy at the top of the stairs. There's only...
You were the Donkey Kong.
Wait,
I kind of thought I'd have more thought out to say about this.
the emails are in the basement? Is that what?
Bombcast at giantbomb.com
Is that, is that where the bodies are stored?
is the email address.
Ben, can you make a quick jingle? Just on the spot right now.
A totally different jingle.
Buzz, 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 buzz. That's right. It's B-mails.
All right, using it.
Great.
Including the part where like Brad tried to talk at the beginning.
Yep.
Yeah.
Great.
I think shouldn't we just call them mail? I mean, okay, these should still be B-mails, but I mean, in a general sense, are
Letters.
shouldn't these just be called mails? And now we should have a new name for non-electronic mail, a mail, analog mail, because what matters more?
Old ass mail.
Snail mail. I mean, that's right.
Snail mail. Who has time to say snail? What are you going to call them? S mail?
I love saying
Snail.
S and snail have the same amount of syllables.
Yeah.
All right. Our first B-mail comes in. Where'd it go? Oh, no. This is my big break.
New jingle.
Wow.
Joe from Nottingham.
Jan mails.
All right, here we go.
All right.
75% off this Okay, that's done.
Celebrate your birthday in style. It's December 1st, so I'm starting out with an email here where we must call our shots for the next year. Joe writes in and says, with all the delays due to the pandemic, which of the following video games do you think will release in 2021?
Skyrim? Saints Row the Third?
Okay, so I'm just going to go down the list. You guys hit me with yeses or nos. Breath of the Wild 2.
No.
Yes.
I'm going to say yes. Contingent upon that new Switch coming out. If the new Switch comes out, that game is also going to come out.
That's a good point. Beyond Good and Evil 2.
No.
No.
No. Diablo 4.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I could see it.
Yes.
I could see it. A provisional yes.
Halo Infinite.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
It would be a disaster if it did not.
The fact that that was not a resounding yes all around is a bit telling.
Maybe not the full game.
Ooh.
Early access. Just the
Just the
multiplayer.
I was going to say just the campaign.
Final Fantasy 16.
No.
Did they put
No, I don't think so.
a date on
No.
that? No, I guess they didn't.
I don't think it had an official.
Then again, they need some money. So
Brad, are you still looking for? Should I stretch?
I'm trying to figure out if that trailer had a date on it or not.
Date on it?
I would welcome it. I mean, I'm
Oh,
really,
no. The trailer just said more information in 2021.
Okay, so probably not then. God of War 2. I'll say yes.
Man,
It might get
maybe?
delayed. They'll
say
announce it. It'll get delayed.
I don't know. They've already got Horizon.
That sounds like an April of
Ratchet.
2022 sort of game to me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I could see that being the year after.
GTA 6.
Never.
No.
I'm not convinced there will ever be a GTA 6.
yeah, no.
Metroid 4.
No.
Yes.
I'm going to say yes. It's either Metroid 4 or Breath of the Wild. One of those two games will come out next year.
What was it? How long has it been since they did the big reboot? Like 2 years?
The last E3 we went to, right, was their big announcement of like, hey, we're fucking destroying it and starting over again.
Maybe. I'm going to say no for Metroid next year.
Yeah.
Here's one I'm curious about a lot. Overwatch 2, a game they announced a long ass time ago and have not given us an additional word of what it is.
Like a year ago? Also, isn't that like just built on the original game like heavily?
But it's single player focused, or it's not single player, but like PvE focused instead of PvP.
That's just gonna end. No, and I
Battleborn.
Yeah, maybe that'll never come out.
There's like a surprising number of people in chat saying the same thing, that they think it's just like dead, which seems insane to me because isn't Overwatch still huge?
But like I think they just end up doing like if they're going to add stuff to Overwatch, they add stuff to Overwatch, and they end this process of putting out Overwatch 2.
Overwatch 2 was announced,
or they call it Overwatch 2.0 or something, and it's just like, hey, we've patched, because there was always a weird thing of like it has all the Overwatch 1 stuff, and it's still the same,
November 2019.
It gets rolled into Overwatch.
And then Joe here having a little laugh with the last one, a good Sonic game.
Sonic Mania was like what?
Yes.
3 years ago?
Yeah.
I can tell you that the new Sonic the Hedgehog movie goes into production in 3 months because that almost made the news cut.
Oh,
excellent.
Boy. Are they back filming in SF?
I don't know.
Who's going to play Tails?
Miles.
Jaden Smith.
A bunch of people in the chat want us to give this treatment to Bayonetta 3.
No.
Man, it's God. Depends how
I think
long.
it will. I think because I think it has to.
Yeah.
I think it has to. Yeah.
It's God. What has it been? 3 years since they announced it or something?
I don't even know.
I think it's time.
Already too long.
I'm gonna say yes on that one.
Jenny Slate is a good choice for Tails in the chat. Yes.
Okay, this is a little 2-pack combo of emails. Neither of them really questions, but I thought they were too funny to not read together.
Quickly for my GAMERZ.
This is from Jean-Pierre in Las Vegas. Jean-Pierre says, "Dear Bombcast, I wanted you to know I searched for Giant Bomb on Bing today, and the top result was your BMX XXX video. It seems that Bing is still committed to surfacing pornography above all else."
Thank you, Bing.
Thank you, Bing.
Very cool.
And then the addition to that email is from, where'd it go? Oh boy, there's so many emails. Here we go. From Chris in West Point, New York, who says, "I asked the Google Assistant on my phone the following: what is the name of Ronald McDonald's purple friend? And the first result was the giantbomb.com character page for Grimace."
Great.
Good.
Okay.
So powerful
SEO working out.
SEO where it counts.
That's right.
That's the Giant Bomb promise.
Here's a little more of a thinker. This is from Nicholas in Mount Pleasant, South Carolina. Nicholas says, "In my house, we have had a console every generation since the Genesis until the most recent Xbox One/PS4 generation. I only got a Switch last Christmas and a laptop in March that I could run any contemporary games on, even lighter indie games from the last generation. The first two games I got were Overwatch and Control. Good Lord, Control is amazing. My question is, if you had to skip a console generation, which would it be?" So I'm going to say, like, if you could never play games from one generation. I know generations are very hard to define. We've discussed this, but like, let's think like mainline, PS1, PS2, that sort of stuff.
It's tough.
But are we playing these games on PC or just not at all?
Just, let's say not at all. Let's say for the sake of this, you can't play these games anymore. I think I'd have to go with like N64.
That's what I started to say, but then I would never have the experience of seeing Mario 64 for the first time, which is like a top 5 video game moment ever.
Yeah.
I'm sorry,
really
what was the
high
question? Are we
highs.
getting rid of one, essentially?
You can never play those games again, let's say.
The game still exists. You just
missed it
out.
all.
Oh,
is,
okay.
is it the one we just came out of?
That's my other answer.
That's
That's my other answer. As much as there were a lot of very good games.
a lot of great indies, like incredible generation for indies, but like main first party AAA games were a little weak.
Yeah, it's like we were saying before with the Xbox stuff. Like so many of them were just sequels to franchises that have been around for a while. You know.
I mean, it's either that or it's like the Odyssey 2 2600 Channel F era or something. But like,
let's say starting with the NES.
That's a cop-out.
Okay.
Maybe the 3DS.
That's not. I don't know that a handheld count. That's not really part of a generation, right? Because the handhelds come out off cycle, and it's kind of hard to line them up. So I think you can't just say 3DS. You got to take. I don't even know what console you would take alongside those.
And
also, yeah, do that. Well, it might be PS4 or Xbox One.
Yeah, I think I might have to go with that as well.
That's.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can't give up Monster Hunter.
There's so many other Monster Hunters though.
There's a bunch on the Wii.
That world.
Are you gonna play as Mila Jovovich?
Yeah, I got to get that skin. Holy shit!
All right, Jason, speak now or forever hold your peace.
Fuck, man. All right. This just past generation. I'll play Monster Hunter somewhere else.
A bunch of people in chat keep going, but what about Breath of the Wild? And like for some weird reason, that game exists out of generations in my mind as just like this weird thing that happened.
Yeah,
came out of the Wii U.
And don't threaten me with a good time, chat.
That is true. I played a bunch of it on the Wii U.
Shit. I don't know. You know what? I missed a bunch of the PS2 era.
Well, if Jason missed it, so
I feel like that's prime Jason game zone, though.
Fuck off.
Yeah, that's where God Hand.
That's like my
came from.
Yeah, that's like my shit too.
Okay, all right.
Look,
there's a big fan of Jason games.
There's nothing pejorative about the term Jason game. All right.
I might be the person on staff that likes Jason games the most, except for Jason.
Okay. All right.
Next up, we got an email from Ryan from the ATL. Ryan says, I picked up the most recent Call of Duty this week, and while it was a tad underwhelming compared to Modern Warfare, I'm still having a good time with it. I went to check the subreddit for the game, and it was nothing but people being super angry about the game. I get being disappointed if it wasn't what you were looking for, but this seemed like an unacceptable level. It reminded me a lot of my time with League of Legends and Destiny. Oh. Do you guys know of any positive gaming communities? I'm so tired of fans of a game just yelling at the publisher and developer all the time. Thanks, Ryan.
The Hades subreddit, it is pretty positive. They share fun builds.
Oh, nice.
I never checked out the Hades Reddit. I should. I feel like I gotta say, like, the fan base was toxic in other ways, but not towards the developer at all. But the Undertale community, I feel like, is a really good example of a community that, like, they're gonna annoy outsiders about that game. But they're not, like, nobody's really hating on that game. And like, there was the 5-year anniversary recently, and there was tons of really, like, sweet messages of people just talking about how important that game was for them. And I thought that was, like, a nice break from what we usually see about Twitter complaining about games.
I think Homestuck, that's probably...
Okay. Good answer.
Belgo in the chat says Final Fantasy 14 is nice. I get that.
Yeah, they're a bunch of wholesome folks.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it took them a while to get there, but the No Man's Sky community seems to be pretty stoked about that game.
Yeah.
And not especially
Minecraft also.
These days.
Back in the day, man, I made some lifelong friends in, like, the PSO community.
Okay.
They were nice.
The Pokemon community is terrible.
Yeah. Like, the ones I'm active in, Pokemon, terrible. Fighting games, terrible.
Oh God.
Overwatch.
Have you ever
terrible.
stopped to
Dota,
think that maybe
terrible.
you're the one making them terrible?
It couldn't be.
Gotta go.
Yeah.
Oh.
Let's look in the mirror. It's always
Hey, the charade. It's falling apart.
Look what you did to him.
The next
You made him.
I just to consider it. I'm not saying one way or the other. I just
next, unless anyone has any other examples, the next email comes in from Sean. Sean from Portland says, "You are at a friend's house and you just used the restroom. You wash your hands. The only towel you see is most likely their bath towel, and it is damp. What do you do?"
Pants.
inside of the back of the shirt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh,
right.
that sounds like it get really clammy real fast, though. Ugh.
Near's green screen.
Or
How
just
can you
use it.
tell?
Or just use
Yeah.
it. Who cares? Just use it. Who
Your
cares?
screen. How can you tell if it's damp unless you
You could see
touched
it,
it already?
You
Yeah.
could see if it
Yeah.
looks damp, probably.
I don't know.
Start on the towel, finish on the shirt. That's my motto for
There you
everything.
go. Yes.
So okay, I mostly ask this question as like as an etiquette question. If the only if there is no like clear visible hand towel, and there's like a bath towel up next to the shower, are you okay to use that as a guest to dry your hands?
Stop
I
me,
don't
man.
think so.
Did
Put a
they,
bathrobe
no.
up. I'll use that.
did
Stop
they
me.
think you were
I
coming
dare you.
over? Like if
Well,
they-
I mean, like they're like, yeah, or you like go there semi regularly. You know, it's like a friend you're just dropping it on or something.
I think it's a nice gesture to make sure there's a hand towel in there. You know, it's like on the checklist
Yeah.
for having people over is put out a hand towel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I will say
it's
that
one of those things that like,
provided strict cleaning protocol was adhered to, that bath towels should be clean
Yeah, you
Right?
say that.
and your hands should be clean. It should be after washing them. So like no harm, no foul. It's just a damp cloth.
She's saying wash your hands before you use the bathroom.
Yeah.
On the Michael Showalter route here.
Yeah. Definitely.
bad guy from Shape of Water route. Okay. Okay. Let's keep going on the B mail train. This is Tommy writing in from Finland. I am currently rewatching Jeff Gerstmann's Pro Skater series on the site. And while looking at aggressive inline, I wonder what would be the definitive tier list for extreme sports. Skateboarding is obviously high, but how do BMX, surfing, and others rank? And I just-
Wakeboarding, very bottom.
You think wakeboarding is very bottom?
Does that even
Yeah.
count?
Yeah, they had that again,
Is
right?
that on the list?
So I happen to have here the current roster of X Games games. We've got so just hit me with like a
High,
high
medium, low.
or low tier. All right, aggressive inline skating.
Low.
Hi.
Come on, Jan.
Low,
Speak with your
low,
heart. Yeah, that's right.
low,
Say low. You know you want to. BMX,
high.
Yeah.
rally and off-road truck. This is
Yeah.
like supercars and stuff.
No, low.
Low.
That doesn't
Yeah,
count.
That's not. I don't think that counts.
It
I don't
extreme
know.
sports is a wide.
Rally's like its own thing, though.
Yeah.
No, but this is like different. This is not your fucking
Gymkhana?
old man's. This is not your British old man's rally.
It's very high.
This is not fucking turn, curve, good. This is, it's not.
I should note these are the summer games. Mountain bike,
Low.
So that's just like
Low.
courses, right? On a mountain bike.
Yeah.
it's mountain bike slope style, whatever that means.
I'd say
Yeah.
high if you get extra points for doing tricks.
Yeah, it's like, but that's just BMX at that point.
Oh, yeah.
Skateboarding,
High.
High.
Hi.
and then now we get into the other climbing,
Low.
low. Street luge.
Low.
Low.
What?
Oh, that
Street luge is
shit's-
fucking badass.
Yeah, that
intense.
seems pretty extreme to me.
They're just like, I mean, sure,
Yeah.
they're just laying down, but they're going so fucking fast.
They're
man.
laying down and going fast, and that's awesome. But
I feel like
I would
what
get
are
over
we-
it pretty quick. I'm gonna
what
go
are we
low. I'm gonna
ranking
go
them
low.
on? Like, what's the criteria? Because
If you are like, okay, my criteria is if I was to see somebody just on the street doing it, would I go, whoa, badass? And for me, that's a yes on Street Luge.
All right.
to rank high, I feel like you need the ability to do tricks.
Yeah, I want to see like the thing that makes me go, oh shit, is people doing sick ass tricks.
Yeah. You can't do a kickflip on a street luge, I think.
If you could, that would be the most extreme sport.
Yep.
Yeah, then it's super high at that point.
Yeah.
X Venture Race. I don't know what that is.
No idea.
It
So
sounds
it's low.
It says race right in it, so it's low.
Windsurfing,
Low.
wakeboarding,
Lowest.
Oh,
sky surfing.
Physically, it's high.
pretty extreme.
Literally, it's
Let's
high.
go high.
Oh shit, that's like snowboarding out of a
Like
plane.
plane. Yeah.
Dude, that's the beginning of the first Power Rangers movie. High.
Oh shit, you're right. High. Bungee jumping.
Low.
low. Like,
You
I
can
don't
do
know how you
tricks, though,
compete
I
with that.
suppose.
How do you compete with that?
no,
though?
man, you jumped off a bridge. Come on.
Yeah.
Barefoot
Anyone can do
water
that.
ski jumping.
Disqualified.
I like watching that, but
And that's pretty much it. The rest are just variations on those. So it sounds like a lot of low tier shit. Really, only skateboarding.
and BMX, and that's it. And
BMX.
everything else sucks.
Pretty much anything that's in a Tony Hawk's American Wasteland, high. Anything
Yeah.
else, leave them out.
Yeah.
All right, we're talking about
Oh. Hold on, though. Hold on. Have you guys ever seen Freeline skates?
Freeline.
It's like, think if you took inline skates, but a skateboard. So you have like two wheels on each foot.
Oh yeah, I've seen these.
And I've seen someone almost break their ankle when I was at school on these, and they look great. But the tricks
Are the
people
wheels
do,
sideways, like you stand
Yes.
sideways like a skateboard?
yeah.
That's fucking crazy. That sounds like a good way to kill yourself.
I've seen people like no, but I've seen people like they'll kick one of their like freeline skates out, and then like the momentum will meet them back around while they're turning a corner, and they'll jump back on it.
What?
It looks tight.
Okay.
Also, if you add like a graffiti element to inline skating, I think it goes high.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Any crime. If you could theoretically have a bumper sticker or some kind of take on the sport that says it is or is not a crime, that is also high tier.
Wakeboarding is not a crime, but
There's
should
no
be.
crime.
Sky surfing should be a crime.
Exactly. Who knows where you're sky surfing to?
Maybe you're sky surfing into the next email from Tim, who says, "Hey, Bomb Crew, what is the best game with breakable weapons? A mechanic we like to bemoan. My answer: Final Fight 1 on Game Boy Advance, because that's my favorite Final Fight.
Minecraft.
Wait, do those weapons
fuck.
break?
Yeah, those
Yeah.
weapons break.
No, in Final Fade. I think they just
Yeah,
take
your
them.
pipe, like it just
Yeah.
eventually.
I thought they just took them from you when you hit a certain
The
point.
end of the stage.
It just goes flying out of your hands.
No, they have limited uses, right?
I don't think so. I don't know. I don't think Final Fight has limited uses.
Like you get like the katana and be like, oh shit, I got a katana, and then I'd lose it, and like maybe I was just bad, but I assumed there was.
The Punisher game, displays a number on screen about how many uses you have left with some of the weapons.
So in Monster Hunter, they have a sharpness gauge, and it's got a really cool like recoil. With you hit something and your blade is not sharp enough, it just goes boing, 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 boing. That's cool, but it doesn't break. You can sharpen it again.
I think that mechanic was one of the things that pushed me away from like legacy Monster Hunter.
Here is perhaps a better question. Is it possible for weapon degradation to be good? Or is
Minecraft.
Or is it just something you tolerate?
Like I really think that's like the only example where I'm thinking like it's so integrated into the core gameplay loop of the game.
I can see it.
Was that like Metro or like Far Cry 2 or something where it was like it was like the guns you got off guys were super shitty,
rusty and shit like that. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that's a neat. It's not fun per se, but like
Minecraft is very good about it letting you circumvent the degradation, or like eventually you can just make shit that's so durable it practically doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
At least
I think maintenance is not fun. I think that's
it just depends on how you can handle it. But yes.
Yeah, I think there are some games that like mitigate it better than others, or there are some games that don't put it in your face the same way. But like at the end of the day, like maintenance is not exciting. Like there are ways to do that. Yeah, there are games that they're trying to be more serious or trying to take that stuff in a more simulation direction where I think it's like wholly appropriate.
Yeah,
but.
Chat mentions Dying Light, which is a great example where instead of throwing away your machete before it breaks down, you instead wrap barbed wire around it and hook it up to a car battery.
Yeah.
Cool.
The game's pretty good.
Smart.
All right.
Think that game's ever going to come out? Dying Light?
Yeah, that was popping up in chat during that will this be out next year question for
I think
sure.
so.
Like, I would have said yes for sure right up until all that stuff started coming out about it being a disaster. And the labor practices being terrible and blah, blah, blah. Like it was the story out of that studio did not sound positive at all.
What ships first, that or another Dead Island?
Oh, man.
Dying Light.
Oh, geez,
Dying
man.
Or State of Decay 3.
State of Decay 3 ships first. But all those probably somehow.
I don't know if another Dead Island ever comes out at this point.
Yeah.
We're going to get a Zombie U 2.
I'd believe it.
This next email is all the way from the little state, Rhode Island, from Mike, who says, "Hey guys, been listening every week since the arrow pointing down days. My question is this: is the crouton the highest form of bread?"
No.
No. It
Bread.
is.
Thank you
in
for
fact,
emailing.
one
No.
of the lowest forms of bread, I would say, because it's usually made of stale bread, right?
Day old, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
The croutons,
I think croutons are
They
fun.
can be
croutons
very
are where
tasty
bread goes
in
to
a salad.
die.
Yeah, exactly. Like
Yeah.
I like a crouton, and they add a lot to a salad, but like bread. Hey, check this out: freshly baked bread.
Right.
How about that for?
I would like to check that out.
That's not bad.
That's pretty good. My girlfriend.
I like croutons though. Like
Yeah,
Croutons are great.
Yeah, I'll eat all the croutons off the top of a salad and go, I'm garbage. But yeah,
pretty good in soup.
Yeah. Tomato soup.
Oh, sure.
Yum.
My girlfriend made a huge batch of stuffing with sourdough bread for Thanksgiving.
Oh.
And
nice.
watching her buy 2 fresh loaves of sourdough and then just rip the bags open and let them sit on the counter for like a full day felt like a crime was being committed. I was like, why are you ruining this perfectly good bread?
You'll see.
that's why I buy 2 more loaves to eat while you're watching those loaves go.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. It's like croutons aren't even the best thing you can do with old bread. Like you got stuffing, you got bread pudding, like you French toast. There's so many more. This email, I'm glad I'm not the only one who was outraged.
Garlic bread. Oh,
Garlic bread.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, garlic bread.
Texas toast.
yeah.
Toast. Toast from Texas. Everything's bigger down there, including the toast. Ben from Cincinnati writes in, "Hey, Bombcast crew. Talking about the positional audio in the last Bombcast reminded me of old Halo 2 multiplayer. In Halo 2, if you were close to the other team, they could hear you and you could hear them. This was mostly used for talking shit, but when we played CTF or other team objective types, my one friend used to spend the entire match hiding in the enemy base listening for the other team's strategy. And since we lived in the dorms, he would shout to us what their plans were. I think more games should support this type of chat, even in the age of Discord, where people frequently don't use in-game audio." Ben doesn't have a question, but I guess my question is that a disaster in 2020, or are they onto something here?
It's
Having like an espionage mechanic in a game like that, it sounds cool as hell.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how you make it work without people just talking shit at each other or like being awful to each other.
Yep.
Like pub games, like people are bad enough to their teammates, right? Let alone being able to talk directly to the other team.
Yeah.
there was a perk in some of the Call of Duty games a couple of generations ago that would like let you listen in to enemy voice chat if you got close, or it was like some specific thing that just it's a neat idea. But like, yeah, you have too many people, you know, in those days it would be like too many people in party chat, so they wouldn't be talking to the game. And nowadays, yeah, you have people using external services. They're out there on Mumble servers and TeamSpeaks. Intel iParty. So yeah, I don't think you would like for that to work. It has to be like a benefit and limitation that is equal across both teams, not something you can just circumvent by using an external service.
I mean, it probably has to be a mode like built around that being necessary, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like not just throwing that into team deathmatch.
Right. Yeah. But yeah, so you'd have to like at some point you need that like agreement that we're going to play using this and not
right.
Like it's practically like an RP mode at some point, right?
I mean, even the example in the email in the B mail is saying, "Oh yeah, we put someone in their base and then he just yelled it across the dorm to us," which would not be something to be possible without him being revealed. Because he was probably muted, right? So he's not talking to the game when he's doing that. So even the example is cheating. So,
All right. Let's move on then. Mike from Chicago. Why are franchises important? Beyond marketing and name recognition value, why does anyone care about the franchise lineage of a game? For a franchise like Mario, I'm going to skip around a little bit. They wrote quite a long email here. For a franchise like Mario and Uncharted, which have been controlled to a high standard by a single company, I understand why people would get excited for the next installment. For a movie franchise like Ghostbusters or Batman, it makes sense that people are excited to return to their favorite settings and characters, even if the creative teams might change from the film. But for most games, the primary thing we like about a game are usually the mechanics. A franchise like Street Fighter might never return to the peaks of its past, but has been usurped mechanically by newer games, by different developers, so who cares? There's no shortage of great fighting games. All of this is a very long-winded way of asking, why would anyone care about a franchise? Mike from Chicago.
I want to see what Ryu's going to do in the next Street Fighter when you beat the game with him. Is he going to punch 2 waterfalls this time? Like, you want to see the follow-ups. You want to see what these characters got up to. Or what are the new skin? And I think like selling skins and stuff kind of ruined that to a certain extent, because now over the lifespan of a game, you get a zillion different dumb looks and crossovers and all the other shit. But used to be like, man, what the fuck is Ryu going to look like in Street Fighter 3? And you're like, oh, he's wearing like a white. Okay, all right, yeah, he's got a like when it was. Remember when Street Fighter Alpha was coming out? Before it came out, and it was just like, oh, Street Fighter Zero is coming. It's gonna be set between Street Fighter 1 and 2, and you'd have pictures in EGM that would be like, he's got fucking red hair.
Look at that. Look at Ken's ponytail.
And Ken's got a ponytail. You're like, holy shit, man, that's crazy.
But where the hell's Guile? There's no Guile.
There's no Guile.
What?
Yeah.
Shit ass game.
Well, like the looks of those characters, what those characters got up to, all that other shit.
Was that really between 1 and 2? It was not before 1? I mean, you may be right. I can't remember.
Sagat has the scar in the Alpha games, right?
Okay. Yeah, so that is the bellwether, of course.
Yeah.
Huh.
I think a big part of it for me is like, how do you iterate upon what we kind of expect, right? Like for me, it's more of like, okay, I know Ryu's going to throw a fireball. I know he's going to have a dragon punch. Like, yes, I want to, but I want to see how those look in whatever engine you're making the game in. But I also want to see like, what do you change about Ryu? How do the game's new mechanics, how does he take advantage of him? Because he's going to be the character that kind of like has the middle ground and shows off like, okay, I have like a parry, whatever. That's his EX thing. But then like, what is like, I'm interested in Street Fighters. I'm like locked in there for an example, but even like Mario, I want to see what new jump Mario has in the new Mario game. I want to, because
a new suit.
Yeah, a new suit, a new power up, whatever it may be. I think the most interesting thing is like, how do developers take what you love, take their ideas for what should change, and kind of massage the two together into something that players want.
Dr. Faust in the chat just brought up a good counterexample to this, which is Final Fantasy, because like, what is a Final Fantasy game at this point? There have been a comically high number of them. And they don't even necessarily
share, like, you might think like, oh well, mechanically they're the same. It's just different characters, but it's not even that, right? You know, it's obviously
by and large, no. Other than like chocobos and a Sid, not really,
right?
You know, and
chocobos and a Sid and an airship, right. And Sid flies the fucking airship.
And like, you can't even say the mechanics are that similar in recent installments.
Some spells, some summons, you know, like those sorts of concepts. But even that stuff has changed. You know, it's like materia, no materia,
and like that. In that case, like that was kind of enough to lose me to a large degree. You know, it's like I don't care about a new Final Fantasy game the way I used to because they are not really the same thing anymore.
But like, would you want? I mean, if this had, I think about like, well, what if Final Fantasy was the same characters all the way back from the start, or Dragon Quest is at least like the same universe, right? But like, would that work?
I don't think so.
Yeah, if they were making Final Fantasy 16 and it was the 16th adventure of fucking White Mage and the gang,
Cecil too.
Yeah. Yeah, or if they had gone from the good Final Fantasy. What's Cecil doing?
Now he's a Dark Knight again.
Yeah.
Well, like I don't need that either. I think maybe to some extent I just grew out of those games, you know.
Yeah.
And then sometimes it can be a pure comfort thing. Like I feel like the Yakuza games for a lot of people were that because it's like up through 6, like before 7, every game kind of played the same. But it's like, okay, I got Kiryu, I got my guys. I just want a game where I can see what happens to my friends, beat some people up, and just like go along for the ride. It's like the same reason people watch, you know, like sitcoms that last for lots of seasons. It's like I don't really care about the plot as a whole. Like, sure, I'm interested to see what happens, but like I just like spending time in this universe with these characters, right?
I think Mortal Kombat for me ends up being a good example of that. Of just like, because that's even, you know, the fighting game stories, they're dumb, but I like the ways in which they are dumb most of the time. And Mortal Kombat, I think, is especially lately, has done some great dumb things.
They embrace the stupidity.
Yeah, they really found ways to just have fun with it and know what it is more than a lot of other games, I think. And I just like that like goofy fucking B-tier action movie feel that a lot of them capture, and just like, oh, I don't know, Scorpion's human and he's a good guy now. You're like, fuck, cool. All right, shit, why not? And so I don't know. I always thought that was a good example of just like, man, really no one gives a shit about story mode in fighting games. I mean, Capcom didn't even bother to put a story mode in the last one until after the fact, but that actual example, I think, worked against them to say like, oh, actually people do care. But, you know, like, it's not just the gameplay of Street Fighter that keeps people coming back. It's the characters, it's the design, and what those characters stand for in a at least a character sense, if not a story sense, right? I mean, like, I couldn't tell you the ongoing story of Street Fighter because at some point it became all about these bison dolls and all this other stuff, and I was like, I don't know that I can care about that stuff anymore. A fighting game tournament, and they go to Thailand and they fight a guy that's got psycho power, so he doesn't take over the world. That I get.
Another thing with those games, like specifically Street Fighter, but also lots of games like that, is you spend so much time, like with whatever your entry point into a series like this is. Like for me, it was 4. You spend hundreds of hours learning the game and learning fundamentals and stuff that's not necessarily going to carry over 1-to-1 with every iteration, but like I'm going to play every new Street Fighter that comes out forever, just because like I spent so much time learning how to play Street Fighter that I want to see if I can apply that to the new games and stuff like that.
I didn't like 5 but I will, when they put out more Street Fighter, I will definitely be there on the first day to check that out and see what's up with Street Fighter now. For sure. For a lot of those same reasons, you know, like you used to have to leave the house to play Street Fighter. It's fucked up, man. Hang out at a bowling alley with unsavory motherfuckers.
In Yakuza, real quick. In Yakuza, there's like a bunch of side quests, and you know, there's always side quests for like play this arcade game through this thing. And in the Virtua Fighter one, there is sure enough like play through the story mode of Virtua Fighter 5. But then there's one that's like pick every character, play it as every character in Virtua Fighter 5 at least once, and then the little like descriptor text is like, it might not seem like it, but if you're trying to learn a fighting game, playing every character is vital to understanding the mechanics of the game as a whole. And I'm like, somebody who works on this game actually likes fighting games. That's neat.
I mean, I wonder if someone who worked on those games maybe actually worked on Virtua Fighter at some point. Like, I don't know. Have
you guys seen the Sega quiz in that game?
Screenshots of it that fucking blew me away.
I passed, surprisingly. I'm not the biggest Sega freak in the world, but I got that confidence up.
Nice.
I just want to say that Street Fighter 2 was very much an arcade game for me.
Yeah.
Double Dragon. Now that is a game dirty enough to belong in the bowling alley.
Ugh, Double Dragon. Double Dragon was a pizza place game for me.
Huh.
Yeah.
Just a row of about 8 games at the Pizza Hut.
You don't want that anywhere near your food, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had 2 games at mine. Man, shit.
I was a Hydro Thunder.
Actually,
pizza play.
Our Pizza Hut was, God, I can never remember which wrestling game it is. I know Big Boss Man featured prominently.
Probably WrestleFest or
Okay.
Superstar. There was the one that was like tag team focused and the one that wasn't, I think. They're both Technos games. They were both,
was Mr. Perfect then.
related.
Started to say Data East, which aren't they related to Technos somehow?
Oh, that's the tag team one.
Anyway, that was our Pizza Hut game.
Okay.
We had Cyberball in there for a while, like the 2-monitor one, the multiplayer Cyberball. I played Kangaroo at a pizza place.
All right.
Ooh, yeah.
I don't know what that is.
Oh man,
You're a kangaroo.
with boxing gloves.
Yeah.
The entryway
Punch
of our
fruit and stuff.
the entryway of our local Walmart remains the only place I ever saw a Final Fight machine.
It's clean living.
Yep.
How's it? How's that? How did I do, Brad?
Yeah, man, I think we made it. Yeah, there's a quantity of B-mails. What's the email address?
B-mails at ben.giantbomb. Send them in. Yell into your telephone until the email gets sent to.
Any voicemail 707 exit flu. Ben will transcribe them
Hey, man,
painstakingly.
you want to get some voicemails onto this thing? I ain't gonna stop you.
Oh shit!
That number's out there now.
That's a good idea. It's not a bad idea. Bombcast at giantbomb.com.
There you go.
If you want to send an email.
There you go. That'll do it. All right. I guess that brings us to the end of the show then. Thank you for handling that segment. I guess we got kind of all kinds of stuff going on this week, right?
Whole bunch of stuff.
Yeah, y'all are probably, God, you didn't even talk about Mahjong. What the hell?
Well, we're not far enough in the game yet to talk.
Yeah, can it be said that you have actually played Mahjong yet?
Yeah.
Jen played a little Mahjong.
Yeah, I think we were close to winning.
Okay.
Maybe. I'm still not sure how you win Mahjong.
I think if you enlisted Brinty's help, I think she would. She's been offering to make us understand Mahjong for years now.
Standing offer. That's right.
My grandma's gonna get it as soon as I learn. I'm gonna hustle my grandma. That is the goal of this.
Or so you're just gonna act like you still don't know what's up, and then just like sit down and be like hand pawn. Or I don't know what do you say in a Mahjong
Exactly.
game? Yeah.
We don't know.
Okay.
Yes.
But
Usually like
she
this one's
stole a
got
lot of
9 dots on it. Like I don't know how that works.
One day we'll get a Chombo.
I got a Chombo last night, and I don't think it was good.
Wait,
Wombo
you
Chombo.
played more?
You said I could play more.
I didn't say you could play more. You said, is it bad that all I want to do is play Mahjong? I said, no, that's not bad. I didn't know you were cheating on me.
Okay, well, look out this Thursday. More Mahjong.
That's right.
Mornings.
And look out on Friday, the new Chombo Wombo album is dropping. So
Great.
That's right. Stay tuned for all that.
We're gonna break some brads.
That's right. God, fuck.
Worms.
You're gonna beat it this time.
Oh, yeah, we're going to play some
Yeah,
Worms
y'all gonna play some
tomorrow.
Worms?
Yeah, is it? Yeah, Worms.
Oh, Worms.
Oh, Worms?
We heard there's large lobbies in there, so maybe at one point we'll be able to open it up and play with y'all. But we'll see. We'll see how that goes.
I think me and Vinny are going to try to do some stuff, but we're not sure what yet. So
Oh, yeah, me and Vinny did some stuff too, but that's a secret.
Vinny getting up to all kinds of stuff on the website. All right.
It's in high demand. Yes.
Stay tuned for all that stuff and more coming later this week. And we'll be back next week with another one of these giant bombcasts. So thank you for listening. We'll see you then.